Well, history erases the mystery. If you go back in history, you'll see that the greatest civilization of all time, referred to as the Kemetic civilization, the European renamed it the Egyptian civilization, fell because they invited outsiders to their shit. According to Dr. Chancellor Williams in Destruction of Black Civilization, Dr. Williams says, quote, for generations, Memphis was almost entirely African, an all African city, with white Asian villages slowly growing up around the outskirts. Dr. Williams says, quote, for the Asians were very smart and cunning people. Stop right there. Now, Dr. Williams says Asians, but he's talking about Western Asians. That's Arabs. We have to keep in mind that the term Middle East is not even 100 years old. The word Middle East is a misnomer. Dr. John Henry Clark say middle of where, east of what. It's a military term to confuse you. It used to be called Western Asia. Well, let's get back to Dr. Williams, shall we? Dr. Williams says, quote, for the Asians were a very smart and very cunning people. Once conquered, they feigned complete and humble acceptance of African rule. This shit's deep. Get out your notepads, y'all, and take some notes. So these Arabs moved around Egypt, an incomparable place, and they act very humble. And what did Dr. Williams say? He said once they got conquered, they acted like they were completely accepting of black rule. They did. Dr. Williams further says, quote, far from showing the slightest signs of any feeling of racial superiority, they were such masters of the art of dissembling that they could hoodwink the Africans, often under the guise of brotherhood, by capitalizing on their often dark complexions, similar institutions, intermarriages, and mixing with black population, generally as far as possible. That was all. This was the direct route to repeated Asian ascendancy on the continent few Africans seem to see, for they were, as a race, too ready to forgive and forget past evils committed by foreigners, whereas, on the other hand, a fellow African tribe could easily become a traditional enemy and continue as such for so many generations that no one could remember what the quarrel was about. Now, Dr. Williams writes in these rhythms that when I start reading this stuff, I feel like I sound like the way he talks. But what Dr. Williams said in that passage so beautifully is the black man and woman tend to forgive and forget too easily. So we need to stop forgiving and forgetting. Leave that shit alone. Stop turning the other cheek. Stop doing that. I'm not telling you to be violent because I'm not violent, but I'm telling you don't be forgiving folk. Somebody fuck you over, block them out. And lastly, what Dr. Chancellor Williams just said in his little sophisticated way, nothing's a little about Dr. Chancellor Williams, in his big sophisticated way, was we fucked up 10,000 years ago by letting Western Asians or Arabs creep into our shit, and they fucked us over in the long run. So, Wani, should FBAs invite outsiders into our events? What are your thoughts?
Not at all. As you could see with the movie, inviting people in is, they're parasites. They have to get in. If you look at their cultures, you won't see that much. It's based on stealing from those around them and basically cataloging everything and making a white version of it, utilizing it as a white version, and without that, they don't seem to have anything that they can grab onto and say, this is really ours. And the small amounts of things that they do have. Well, when I was thinking about that title, I was thinking about how we have some people in the movement that try to tell us that people are our lineage because they're cool with them and they want to hang out with them. And that's caused a lot of chaos and it continues to cause chaos. as no matter where we go, whatever uh, organizations we form, we get immigrants coming in trying to get verified or coming in with all kinds of stories about why their ancestors have Caribbean backgrounds or to make an exception for them and these types of things. As we tighten up the ropes, we start to see that a lot of people around us are not only not our lineage, but they're cool with people that are not, and they don't mind bringing those people in the mix. And every time it just causes division and splits in what we're trying to do.
Yes, yeah, it's Wani, and hey, history don't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And
Yeah,
the shit.
I forgot something.
Go ahead, Wani.
I was going to say, when just before the fall of Rome, they said the same thing. They said the barbarians set up places around the edges of the Greco Roman Empire, around Rome. Um, and it's the same thing with us. We have neighborhoods and people set up shop in our neighborhood and then they build their numbers up. And then all of a sudden, we don't live in Brooklyn anymore. We don't live in these places anymore. This is history repeating itself, and it's pretty shocking. I mean, I'm starting to wonder if human beings are not an invasive species. These mind states are very invasive, and you can't deny it. You can just see that Arabs, for one, which were called Asians, um, just started to push themselves on everybody all over the world and push their religion on everybody in their version of it. They have, in fact, invaded every place on earth with their belief system and through trade or through immigration or through just coming in there and invading. So, yeah, people can be invasive species, and we're having a problem with people being invasive right now. We really are.
Well, Wani, I think that invasiveness is a trait that only certain groups have. I think that in whatever that invasiveness thing is, Wani, I think that trait was activated or transplanted in that Caspian steppe because um, the the Mongolians act they have that Genghis Khan. I mean, the stories of Genghis Khan is outrageous, ladies and gentlemen. Genghis Khan will show up fucking, I mean, that motherfucker was ruthless. He would show up with an entourage and kill all the men and all the boys, all the male children, keep the women alive, and then once he killed them, he would walk through and pick which women he wanted to be concubines, prostitutes and shit, and pick which women he wanted, the exclusive group of women he wanted to marry. And if you refuse, he'd kill you. I mean, stories say that he would walk through a village with his entourage and just point at girls left and right and say, her, her, and her. I mean, if that's not invasive, what is it? And then you get the European. What did that fool in the space last night say? Europeans, we kept the Indians from killing each other. What did Wani say?
This is weird.
Wani said, how? By killing them?
Yeah.
That's invasive, man. I don't.
But
Go ahead.
he's some of these documentaries are trying to rehabilitate Genghis Khan. He has a bad reputation for a reason. And I really loved Mongolia. I have to say, it was really a rewarding place to visit. They do have a lot of cool culture, horse culture. Um, but the fact remains, he is being rehabilitated, and people are saying, well, he was a priest. Let's get into that. He was a priest. He had a shaman to travel with him and tell him when the best time to, get people. Now, it didn't work all the time because remember when he tried to get Japan, they had two tsunamis on two separate occasions against the Mongols, and they died. Tens of thousands of people died. in what they call an ill wind, what we would call a tsunami, but it does seem to be a little bit more than that. Tens of thousands of people right at the time that you're trying to invade Japan. What was Japan over there doing? What demons are these people summoning? Because how do you just murder everybody in your wake and just rape everyone else to the point where 20% of people on earth or something, or 20% of people in Asia have Genghis Khan's genetics? How do you do that and then maintain that you are driven by a shaman, you're going to visit a sacred mountain, and you are in fact a priest
He,
king? I need to know what these people are worshiping
I got it,
immediately.
Wani. He was a priest of sex magic,
Yeah.
a porno priest. What you got, Twizzle? I know you know a little bit about this stuff. Educate us, brother.
Hey, what's happening, man? What's up, everybody?
Chilling, bro.
Still celebrating a little bit, man. Another trip around the sun for me. You know what I'm saying?
I
Happy
hear you, bro.
birthday, Twizzle. Happy
Thank
birthday.
you, thank you, thank you,
Happy
everybody.
birthday,
Thank
Twizzle.
you,
Happy
everybody in the room who
birthday.
wished me a happy birthday too. Thank you. It was
Happy
beautiful, man.
birthday.
This is the best thing about social media. Yeah, I'm kind of fluid on this topic. You know, and what Sister Wani said is true because over there in Mongolia, damn near everybody over there got the last name Khan, so they share the DNA with Genghis Khan. You know what I'm saying? And he had a tirade. He had over 1,000 children, if I could remember. You know what I'm saying? And what Wani was saying about the invasion of Japan, that's where kamikaze come from, the divine wind. You know what I'm saying? Because they had that divine wind, as you said, on both invasions. Somehow, some way, a divine wind that just came through and swept all their ships to the sea. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny. It's like if it happened once, twice is not a coincidence. And I always think about that too. And they got a video game about it called The Ghost of Tsushima, talking about when the Mongols first came, they landed on an island in Japan. They talk about that. But you know, Wanda, you right. The Asian steppes are beautiful. You know what I'm saying? The Asian steppes are beautiful, and it was at one point in time to where the Mongols ruled all of Asia, all the way through Russia, all the way through, damn near all the way through Persia. You know, I was just watching something. They was talking about when when the Mongolians was coming. They was talking about the Ottomans. When the Mongolians was coming, the Ottomans kind of like tucked tails, and one of the Ottoman kings, he gave up his kingdom just for riches and security. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
I got a confession. Twizzle, you and Wani making me jealous, man. I don't know that much about Mongolian history and I never been there. The only thing I know about Mongolia is Mongolian beef, and that shit is delicious.
What's that
That's easy to
like?
make. You just gotta marinate the meat in soy sauce and ginger. You know what I mean? Get fresh ginger. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh,
Yes, indeed. But yeah, and with that, you know what I'm saying? When
Say
we go
no
all the
more
way back to the
disrespect.
Asians, do you remember the Japanese had a very famous painting called the Nam painting? It talk about when the Asians and the Persians, not Asians, what's the motherfuckers called? The Portuguese and the Asians first came to Japan. And when you look at that painting, you're going to see dark figures on that painting. The Portuguese were black, and some of the Asians were black as well. You know
preach.
what I'm saying? And that goes back to the 1500s. Japan painted that in the 1500s, like how Assassin's Creed got this video game out right now, and everybody mad about this black samurai called Yoshikin. He really existed, but throughout
Why are
history,
they mad?
because it's a black samurai, and he
I
really
know, but
existed
he's a
though.
real person.
Yes, but they tried to portray him as a slave, but he wasn't no slave. He came over there with the Portuguese, and they were black, and that's when the Portuguese brought technology to Japan. And one of the emperors was so infatuated with him, he was like, "Stay here, stay with me," and he stayed in Japan. Not only that, he taught the emperor as well as the emperor taught him some stuff.
Keep
So
cooking, Twizzle.
we go way back, man. We have a history throughout this whole world, and it kills me when you watch the History Channel. Certain events, you just look at the region, you just see all white people, all Asian people, but we are the original people. We've been on this planet millions of years. Like y'all was speaking about the Asians in Africa. The Asians come from an African tribe called the San tribe. That's where they come from, and they spread it out. What they spread it out east. That's why you look like that. But the original people still in Africa right now today. And in the teachings of Dr. John Henry Clark, it was no such thing as a Middle East. He said the Middle East from what? He got mad when he said that. It's Western Asia, but yet they want to have their identity too because now they coming into power with this new oil and all this technology, so they want to have their identity as well. But they're all the same. That's all the Asian continent. You know what I'm saying? That's why they're called Caucasians over there in Europe, but they want to call themselves European
Preach.
because they want to have an identity. But that's on the same fucking continent. That's just like saying California is not American. It's like, oh, I'm California, but it's in North America. Well, I'm California. You know what I'm saying? It's stupid. Just like how the Portuguese want to say they Portugal, but they're on the fucking continent of Spain. These motherfuckers is ignorant. You know what I mean? But hey, I just want to say shout out to the room, man. And I love these conversations because they're very intellectual and they're very educational, especially when we have some articulate and experienced people such as Professor Wani, you know, Nikki, and the great Sister Wani. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep this ball rolling, man. And shout out to the room, man. And let's keep this ball open, request the mic and let's keep this ball rolling. Peace.
Hey, brother Twizzle, man. Our brother Dr. John Henry Clark said, "Middle of what? East of where?" Take that shit.
They just made that up because it's political. They literally want, they don't like anything brown, okay? And they couldn't get rid of Egypt. It's too deep. So they had to say they were white. They had to say they were white because they couldn't get rid of them. Other than that, they would have squashed them like a bug. Anything that's not recorded properly is squashed. As you can see in West Africa, we'll never know what they were teaching their people. All of these ancient cultures should have some sort of formal education or way that they teach people. We can see what Chinese people were teaching their people for thousands of years, but in West Africa, we cannot see what they were teaching. They didn't preserve it. They weren't there long enough, whatever the case is. Um, this is one of the issues with them. And we have to pull up all of their information as part of our work of showing that people, melanated people, were all over the world. That's part of our work. And it's already been done. By the time I said, hey, we were here too, the research had already proved that melanated people were on all six continents. So we are the first people of the earth. It's already been proven. So there's no need to blow a gasket because we can pull that information up.
Oh yeah, I just put some information in jumbotron. That's undeniable. Look at the caption. It says, "Facts they hate to admit." I forgot the name of this tribe, but this is a tribe in Africa. And look at them faces. Need I say more? Go ahead, cook some
I
more to
can
us.
see.
Oh yeah, you don't
That's
see
the
it?
sand. If that's them, that's the sand. Let me see.
It's in the jumbotron.
Yeah, that's the sand tribe. That's
Wow.
the sand tribe. They look even lighter and yellow than that, but they got like that thick nappy beady bead hair. They hair like like beady bead like your shit. That's how their
Peppercorn.
shit is. Yeah, that's how their shit is. I seen that a long time ago. I done my research on them a long time ago, and it was this one Chinese professor who went around all China. He went around all four corners of China, and he did a test to over 250,000 people. They want to test where Chinese people come from. Did they come from the Homo erected of there? But when they did the test, they got pissed, and he's about to cry when he had to say they come from their brothers and sisters from Africa. Chinese people are the descendants from Africa, from the black melanated people from
Yeah,
the land of the sun. You know what I'm saying? And
that's
he
their
didn't want to admit
research.
it, but he was about to cry when he said it. And Sister Wanda, you've been all around. When you go to like South Asia, like east from India, all around there, those look like little black women mixed with Asians. You know what I'm saying? I seen what they look like. I seen them before. I seen the documentary before, and that's why China wants to hide Tibet so bad. Because if you seen a real Tibetan, they look like me. They the same color as me, you, Professor Wani, but just with tight eyes and straight hair. You know what I'm saying?
That's a
But
fact.
they're dark. And that's why they try to cut Tibet off from the rest of the world because they don't want China don't want the world to see their original people, how they used to be the original yellow man. You know what I'm saying?
Let me tell
That
you.
shit is crazy.
Let me tell you. Since he brought up Tibet, I'm gonna tell y'all a real interesting story. When I first went off to college, I went off to the Ivy League, and anyway, that's irrelevant. But in my dorm room, I stayed in the diversity hall. The dorm room looked like a fucking college, but across was Kirkland dorm room. So the college I went to would back then would divide the dorms up. They would do like a psychological like evaluation and put you in a dorm based on your socioeconomic status, your race, and sexual orientation. Now, foundational Black Americans back then were in Elliott Hall. Elliott Hall was full of um, what do you call it? Like students from Europe. Like one of my best friends is from Amsterdam. My roommate,
Exchange students.
they weren't exchange because they were undergrads, but they were just foreigners, foreign students. But they were foreign within a certain money demographic. My whole point of bringing this up is right across from Elliot was Kirkland, and Kirkland had foreign students that were fucking rich. It was a princess from Greece there. But the reason why I brought up the story is I got invited to a party, like Twizzle said, with the Prince of Nepal. He had a bodyguard that walked around with him. But anyway, we sat down and drank wine and crisscross applesauce and played a game. My whole point of bringing this up, that game Radio, where we told a story and the story changed by the time we got to the other story, the other side of the circle. But anyway, my whole point of bringing this up is like Twizzle said, the Prince of Nepal was probably about Twizzle's color. Uh, yeah, about Twizzle's color, almost exactly. And this dude, I mean, this motherfucker was rich. Anyway, the year after I left, he went back to Nepal. He graduated, and he was in line. And y'all can look this up. Type in Google, Prince of Nepal killed his father and killed himself. Well, he was supposed to be the king. His dad was going to step down and give him the kingship, and his dad double crossed him. I think his dad double crossed him because he wasn't responsible. He used to get drunk all the time and stuff. No disrespect towards the dead, but he went back to Nepal, man, and to accept the kingship. And his dad was like, "Psych, I'm giving it to your little brother." And this dude went and got a 9 millimeter, killed everybody, and then killed himself. So, but
Damn,
hell
that story
yeah.
was so crazy. When I looked it up, I couldn't even figure it out. There's some other stuff going on.
Yeah, so that's rich people problems. But anyway, that's kind of off topic. But Twizzle reminded me of that when he said that he was the real Nepalese are our color, and that's the fucking truth.
Yeah, they try to act like Tibet is irrelevant. They want to hide them, and they fight with all these ethnic people um, because of old argument over land. Basically, it's about land. You see, the Chinese people wanted to have land and be agriculturalist, and these other people were more traditionalist, and they wanted to move around and have territories and, um, you know, be hunter gatherers. And they've been hating each other ever since. And they've pushed them different places. That's why a lot of these people live in remote areas too, and they would complain about them. They complain about them in their Chinese writing, talking about black dwarfs and barbarians coming, and just everybody who was brown or short or anything around there. They had a complaint about them, and the complaint was they didn't want them on their land. But it's not your land; it was their land. You just came over there and squatted on it really hard with a lot of weapons. That's ownership. Squatting on land with weapons means it's your land. But it was not their land, it was all these different types of groups, and they just happen to have the biggest weapons.
Oh yeah, that's very true. I haven't been to Nepal yet, but from my little interactions with that prince, I really think it's some secrets in Nepal. I think there's another reason why they want to keep us away from that place. It's something going on there. Dr. Michael Bradley wrote a really neat article about Nepal that involved Adolf Hitler, ladies and gentlemen. Adolf Hitler and the Nazi Party went on a mission to Nepal to meet I forget, I'm gonna find the scholarship when the next speaker starts talking, but we call it the original man, or Hitler called him something, but apparently it's, according to Adolf Hitler, there are giants over there living in them mountains, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, please share out the room. Um, and when the next speaker comes up, I'm gonna find that scholarship. I want to read that to you. It's a couple lines that Michael Bradley talks about some type of gigantic. I don't know if he was talking about like a snow people or what, but he said they were gigantic. Wani, do you know anything?
Oh, you mean the abominable
He
snowman?
didn't.
Oh, Yeti? Yeti in them? talking about
Oh
No,
shit.
regular
I know what
giants
professor
or
talking about. There is a
she's talking
tribe of
about
people around there, and they're supposed to be like anywhere between 7 to 9 foot tall. You know what I'm saying? And they and the cold part about it, they're dark skinned. They look black. I seen what you're talking about. And it was a documentary about them, but it was people trying to go find them, but they couldn't get in Nepal at the time. I seen this documentary in the '80s on KQED. You know what I'm saying?
Wani, what do you've been in Nepal, right? Is it mysterious or mystical?
yes.
Tell us about it.
Yes, it is. There's a lot of stuff going, a lot of holy men, putting dead people's ashes on their face. It's just a lot of stuff. Animals walking about, but it's really like a lot of the areas over there are like what they call Shangri-La, just really peaceful and beautiful and remote. But the altitude in some of these places is really, I don't seem to get used to it. I mean, I mean, I know they're adapted to it. They don't seem to have the problems, especially when you start climbing. I don't know how people like us could go over there and climb, but we have gone over there and climbed in Tibet and Nepal. But yeah, there's a lot of things over there you have to climb up to see the view. It can be very peaceful, but you feel like you're in an exotic land. You could be walking through some of these places and they have a whole bunch of carved penises, and you're like, what's that? What are you guys doing over here? You got a bunch of wooden penises hanging out.
Whoa.
You know, should I buy these or run? I don't know. They're just hanging out like these are souvenirs. Grab one. No,
I,
but
But you said that the place was peaceful. Did you feel like a
yeah,
connection there?
animals and I can't barely hear you,
I know I'm
Nikki.
this ghetto headpiece. Did you feel like some type of spiritual connection while you were there?
um, Not for me. I can see why people do because you can get into these different groups and speak to religious people. They do a lot of weird things over there, like levitate. Um,
yeah, I saw a forbidden video years
yeah.
ago in the early internet, back when I left Cambridge. I kept up with one of my friends, and I can't find. I wish I would have downloaded the video, but it was a video of a tip. I guess he was a priest or whatever you call a Tibetan yoga. I don't know what you call them people, but he was like a monk or something, and he went in deep meditation. And I seen this shit with my own eye. He went in deep meditation and for days without eating. And guys, he started to glow. It was a weird glow, and the video was collapsed. This is before fucking what do you call that thing? Uh,
AI.
CGI and all.
No, they can really transcend human states. They have what they call marathon monks, and they'll do these things right in front of your face.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the things they're doing would kill the average person. And if they fail at their mission, they're supposed to kill themselves. So they don't want to fail. They really do transcend what normal human beings are supposed to be able to do. So that's really not debatable. We've seen, people put pins through their arms and not bleed and through their jaws and pull trains with their testicles. These are actual things. They can do that. I don't know why they want to, but they're trying to prove that you can transcend what you think you can do. You can get past your limitations. Like if you ask a doctor how long can you go without water? They what are they going to say, 7 days, or without food 10 days? But these people are literally going for days and days without food, and they're doing all kinds of strenuous things. And I mean, you would have to get into those states. You have to get into those mental states
Yeah.
in order to achieve that.
Yeah, and
Yeah, some of them call themselves breatharians, but they're really skinny people, so I don't think that's they're accomplishing too much.
Well, the guy, and I saw this video with my own fucking eyes. This monk was very skinny, and he went into deep meditation, and he died. And in the video, the dude fucking he was it was time lapsed, and he started glowing. At first you were like, is that a glow? Is that some type of glow? And then by the end of the video, he collapsed. His clothes fell, like he turned into light. He died, and he just turned into pure light. Like they know some shit over there. Ladies and gentlemen, what are we talking about tonight? We're talking about should we invite outsiders into our events? Well, I'm gonna talk a little bit about, we touched on the Tibetans. I'm gonna talk a little bit about something, give you a treat about China. China has always had um the forbidden city. They've always had forbidden secrets that they were never supposed to give out. And matter of fact, one reason why the world is so fucked up that with respect to European domination is that somebody in China allowed Polo to go into China and to get their secrets and bring back secrets of the compass and the and gunpowder, which, and y'all know the rest of the story. What did the Europeans do with the compass? They ran everywhere and discovered places. What did they do with the gunpowder? They took the places, right? Mistake. China fucked up. Well, there's a story of Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee he was Cantonese. He wasn't Chinese, and he had Bruce Lee was a royal lineage. He was like of royal lineage, and he knew royal secrets of China, of the Cantonese. And there's rumor that Bruce Lee was assassinated. I mean, y'all saw what good shape he was in. How he gonna die of a heart attack looking
Was
like that?
assassinated
What
because
you
he was from out here. When he came to America, he was in
educators,
Oakland.
Twizzle? What you know?
He had a shop out here. They hated Bruce Lee because Bruce Lee wasn't racist. Bruce Lee was fucking with niggas. You know what I'm saying? In all his schools, he had nothing but black people, and the Chinese people hated him because they were saying that he was teaching black people our secrets. You know, their secrets and everything. But
Right.
Bruce Lee was cool, man. I heard from people. I'm like all the OGs who used to hang out back in the days. Bruce Lee was with the shit. You know, he was with the shit, and like how niggas was pimping. That's why he went and got him a white woman because he was with the shit. You know what I'm saying? But Bruce Lee, he transcended. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, he come from that royal lineage, so he transcended. And when he transcended, he tried to take it to the world, and that's why they was mad at him about that. But he did it with the intentions of opening China, opening that area to the world, so they can have respect. Because it's a video that's going on Twitter right now. Like with that movie Sinners, I wasn't going to watch it when I saw a little Asian influence in it. It pissed me off because I seen Asian shop owners. I'm like, what the fuck are
Yeah,
they
because
trying to say? You know
they
what I
weren't
mean?
around in that. They didn't. There weren't too
Yes,
many
that
of
and
them
it
back
pissed me
then.
off. That shit really pissed me off. I'm
Well,
like,
hold
this
on.
nigga Ryan Coogler swirling. You know what I mean? He
I'm
too
about
busy
to
trying
make
to
y'all.
add him in here.
I'm about to piss everybody off.
Let me
And
just say
y'all
this right quick, Professor, before I
go ahead.
land. It's a video I posted on my timeline about some Chinese people in Mississippi from the I think the 70s and
Right.
80s
That's what I
when
was
they
gonna say.
when they was talking about it, and they talking about they had to be racist because if they did, the white people wouldn't fuck with them. You know what I'm saying? And there was one Chinaman on there. He was like, "Well, why you didn't march?" He said, "Because I'm a coward. That's why they call you the yellow man." You know what I mean? Go ahead, Professor.
Yep, I have that video.
Oh yeah, where I was gonna piss everybody in the room off is unfortunately there is some truth to the Chinese being there. And the reason why I know this is when I was at a college and when I was doing my congressional report on COVID-19, I had to I was responsible for the Mississippi Delta, which is Memphis and Mississippi along the Mississippi River. Well, anyway, I discovered that was it Reconstruction? I forget the time period, but it was a while back, like in the 1800s. A group of Chinese merchants made it to Mississippi, and the Chinese owned grocery stores, and it wasn't a lot of them, but there were Chinese in Mississippi Delta. They weren't our friends. They treated us like lepers. Of course, they used our money, but
Why are we letting people, what's up with our self-esteem? Why are we letting people treat us like lepers and sell things to us?
why are we inviting outsiders into our events? Why are we inviting outsiders into our life?
Why are we allowing them to set up shop in our neighborhood?
Yeah, and they
Preach.
do that everywhere. Why don't they set it up over in China? They're in Russia doing it. Nobody likes them. Italy doing it. They have signs up saying, "Do your civic duty and don't shop with them." Why do they have to set up shop everywhere?
It's domination.
My thing is this, and I'm gonna land my plane. I can't wait for the day to when our sisters, our queens get together and shut all these Asian, Korean beauty supplies down. Every beauty supply in Oakland that I go to, you're gonna see somebody there that look like they need to be in a Chinese food restaurant. And I'm really tired of that shit. If you every time you go in there, you're gonna see nothing but black women on the posters, nothing but black women soliciting the products, nothing but black women this, black women that. But you go in there, you got some racist ass Chinese, Asian, Cantonese, or whatever they are, Koreans in there watching you with evil ass, murderous ass eyes, waiting for you just to spend your money to get the fuck up out of there so they can treat you bad. I'm tired of that. You know, my mother, when I came from a black community. I had a partner, my best one of my partners who I ran with. His mama used to do nails. You know, his mama was the esthetician in the neighborhood. All the women before they went out to the club and the bar, they you know what to the parties and stuff like that. They will go to her house and get their little nails did and everything. When did these people just come along and just take over our community and run that certain resource and that valuable asset and that valuable
I
product?
believe the
I it,
Democrats let these
it's
people
hard, but
in.
again, we just like we started, we could shut that shit down. You know, we like Jasmine Crockett with her. I can't stand Jasmine Crockett with her fro weave and that lash that's always hanging off the side of that weave. Man, could somebody please talk to her and let her know, like, boo boo, that ain't cute. I understand you from Texas, but you making Texas look bad, boo boo. And she's an Aries, so you know what I mean. She have a little bitch in her. Somebody please holler at her. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the thing is, Twizzle, when I was at, I'm not gonna name the college because I don't want to. I love the college. It's a very small historical black college, but I was responsible for that college. We were on a task force with 5 colleges in the area, and one college that where my supervising professor was Rhodes College, and Rhodes, um, how do I say this? Rhodes is a very very white school. There's a handful of blacks there, but the blacks that I encountered at Rhodes they don't necessarily act like black people. So this whole the culture of Rhodes College is not foundational black American, even though it's near the ghetto, but that's a whole nother point. My point is Jasmine Crockett is acting. That ain't her. She didn't go to Rhodes acting like that. So whoever she is, what we see is an act.
Where did
No,
she
they
come
showed
from?
video.
Where did
We
Jasmine
showed.
Crockett come from? I'm sorry, Wadi,
I
but what?
saw. I saw video of her. She doesn't talk like that. She's doing an act.
Right.
She's trying to be ghetto fabulous, and she can. She. That's just. I'm sick of the Democrats. They are really some little sons of something.
So where did she come from? Because nobody can tell me where she came from, where her family is from.
She's from Texas, for what we hear. We hear she's from Texas and she comes from some so-called prominent family.
Yeah, but
What part
her
of Texas, I
lineage
don't
though.
know.
Oh,
Yeah, we looking into that. Everybody's been looking into that lately.
okay.
'Cause down there in Texas and Southern California, you got a lot of Belizean and a lot of what the motherfuckers called Dominicans. You have a lot of them around there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, back to let me backtrack a bit, and then we'll go to Mr. Freedom. Um, I made a claim about Hitler, and I found the scholarship. Um, according to Dr. Michael Bradley, by 1930 the 1930s, Hitler said, "quote The new man is already among us. He is here. He's in Tibet. I will tell you a secret. I have seen the new man. Just seeing him made me afraid." The new man would inevitably rule the world because of his superiority, and the world must be made ready for him. So, whatever Hitler saw in them Tibetan mountains, he saw some type of advanced entity. What that entity was is debatable, but we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment.
Well, remember, they like to do experiments in mountains. So there you go. We don't know what's going what they did up in
Oh my
Tibet.
God! If y'all don't let me come up here and talk about this?
Oh, go
Come on
ahead.
with
I
it.
can't even wear. I'm bursting at the seams. My goodness, you're gonna get me like Deoda. You know on him spaces. Y'all got me feeling like that right now.
Oh
If
no.
y'all don't let me talk about the, thank you,
What's up, Freedom?
Professor. How you doing, Wani? Uh, Nikki, and happy birthday, happy solar return, as you like to say, to the brother Twizzle.
For sure. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir. Okay, Professor, if you please don't mind, can I post a few things in the
But of
jumbotron?
course,
I need some visual aids for this one because I'm a so break this down.
go ahead, man.
Okay, uh, this is a video from I love this brother, J Electronica, called dimethyltryptamine. If you don't know how to spell it, don't worry about it. That's why I'm gonna post it. Okay, it's mind altering psychotropic. Okay. I'm going to also post the scene from this interesting series called Secret Invasion. Isn't that what we're talking about? Should we have outsiders? Should we invite outsiders? Right. And then uh, I just wanted to break down germination and insemination on a global scale. What I want y'all to know is that humans never stop the the uh, it, the advanced warfare towards the zygote. Okay, we're grown up spermatozoa. That's the full name of sperm. All right. So we're always seeking to create a better insemination point. And what I mean by that is I'm gonna share. I want y'all to remember what Les Wexner and Peter Nygaard were doing. I have to keep bringing this up. Okay, places like in Nepal that have jungles and mountains is especially during these times. I'm talking about solar alignments. This is one that's getting ready to come up on the 25th. The symbolism behind that is during these times and periods with solar alignments, people take different drugs and they have these voices in their minds and they do these sex rituals because they are trying to create a new
Uh-oh.
man. And that is the symbol of the Black Madonna in the child. They're always trying to get to the womb again, inseminate and create a new being. And during the time of Aquarius, what that actually means is it's a radiation field that happens. And when you have this radiation field, you can start all the energy sources, the temples, which are in secret societies, they call them scientific labs. They're not just earthen mound structures. You know, they're literally laboratories. Okay, that's a big secret. And so during these times, you can create a new man. All right. So I wanted to piece all of those things together. And J Electronica, I mean, it's a little bit.
Let me stop you right quick. That sounds like witchcraft a little bit. It was a movie I used to love when I was a child, and hopefully some of y'all that are old enough remember Warlock. Remember that? That movie Warlock with
Mhm.
Julian. I
Yeah,
forget the guy with the blonde hair. He
I
played the
remember
war.
it.
But that what you said, Freedom, sounded like one of the Warlock 2, where they were trying to birth the Antichrist or some type of demon, and they needed a celestial alignment, and they
Hmm.
yeah,
It,
that's
it
what it
was it
sounds like
was
to me.
in it was in what was that movie Wesley with the vampires, Blade. It was in Blade. But also when it comes to the mountain, that's where the zigzag comes from, because that's what a snake has to do to go up a mountain. That's what the lightning bolt represents, is the zigzag. All right, that's what that symbol means. It's the brotherhood of the snake. They're trying to get into the womb.
Uh-oh. Don't
Okay,
get us shut down now. He talking about Brotherhood of the Snake.
they're trying to create a new man. So check out that J Electronica in Nepal video. Dimethyltryptamine. You know, whenever you start open, you don't want to open up your mind too much, or it might fall out. You don't know who's gonna use you. You feel me?
Hello. Hmm.
Also, I'll say this: breatharian is a real thing. Um, and check out that secret invasion. What an interesting thing for Marvel. You know, Marvel is all about us. We know that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Check that out. They were splicing. I'll tie this all up, wrap it up with a bow, a cherry on top, and I'll spoil it slightly for you. But they were creating new beings with these reptilian implants, right, from another world that lost their world in the forest of Chernobyl. There's the radiation. They were
They
splicing
have blue
all of
dogs.
the superhuman beings, aka melanin people, and creating a new
Wait a minute. Where were they doing
in
this? In Chernobyl?
Chernobyl. That's where the yeah, yeah.
If what you're saying is true, brother Freedom, that makes sense to me. Because as a child, I never bought that story that Chernobyl had some critical meltdown due to a malfunction. I never bought that for some reason. I never bought the story of that core going semi-critical and burning through the groundwater. It
Hmm.
just didn't sound right.
And
So that's why Nikola Tesla was
You're
over there
like
going
me.
crazy. That's why
Tesla's like
Nikola
me.
Tesla was over there going crazy.
uh,
They have spider webs that are all jacked up and blue dogs,
but
though.
Wow.
melanin
Wait,
is
say that again,
naturally.
Ronnie.
Oh, my bad.
Say that again. No, I want to hear.
They have
Say that
some.
again.
They have blue dogs and a bunch of spider webs that don't look right. All of the wildlife over there is completely jacked up, including the people that
Wow.
are nearby. They're still having children with birth defects. What about that?
They did tests, and they found out that melanin is resistant. It's a natural repellent to the effects of radiation pollution. You can
Hey,
Google
do
that.
y'all remember? Y'all remember when during the pandemic over there in China, you would see some people, some Asian people with their skin really dark. They were injecting themselves or taking some form of melanin. Do y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? I remember that.
I remember that, and that kind of makes sense, Nikki. Because what did Kennedy say? You remember Kennedy slipped up in a congressional meeting and said blacks. I'm paraphrasing him, but he said something like black people don't need, or maybe a congresswoman brought this up, but she brought up that blacks don't need as heavy medication as whites.
That was
It was
Kennedy. That was yeah, that was him. He also he said it's they're preparing that COVID, man, and them chemtrails. I keep trying to tie it all together. They're trying to make the transition. They're trying to make the transition, and the only way that they can do it is birth through the melanin woman's womb. That's why in everywhere, every landmass is the Black Madonna in the child. They're trying to splice their way in. All right, I'm gonna go down because y'all. I'll go
But
forever.
I saw an African man arguing with a foundational Black American man on the streets on a video today. He was arguing and saying, "Well, Jesus is white. Jesus is white." But then I'm thinking about what you're saying and how they would have the Virgin Mary black. Everywhere you see in history, you see all of these artifacts. They're black, but they still walking with their crazy asses around with white Jesus.
Just like we just need to leave them alone and let. No, 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 no. We can't rehabilitate or teach. It's too. Yeah, it's a lost cause.
Yeah,
Facts.
speaking of our topic, these Africans need to be they're outsiders, and we don't need to invite them into our events. And I'm not speaking from a point of hate, ladies and gentlemen. I'm speaking from a point of history. My point of history is these people willingly sold us and willingly gave us up. We were not the same. It was something, as Dr. Chancellor Williams identifies, it was something different about us. And I'm not going to post a picture again, but if you look at a prior picture I put of me standing at Elmina Castle, up the hill was Cape Coast Castle. We were sold in totally different places. We were marked in a different place. We were segregated, ladies and gentlemen, from the other melanated people. And I've asked the question, why would they put us in different places if we were the same people? They isolated us. Matter of fact, Cape Coast Castle, if y'all want to look that up on Google, is up on a hill. It almost looks like the prize, like put them up on a hill where they can't escape and where we can identify them. We were a prized possession. Why was that?
Where's Seven? He was supposed to come in and argue his point about being an atheist.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
there's a few people who were supposed to come up here, and I don't. I think something's wrong with the room. I'll back channel them.
Why? You mean atheist?
No, you are so. I'll back channel them. I'll back channel
Oh, real quick. They came up with a way to remove religion chemically from you, and when you remove religion, or just knowing that there's a creator, that allows people to pretty much be like drones, man. Um, to chemically remove the will force of man, to make them atheists. I'll post that down there. But they're also they're socially engineering it through what you see on TV, just getting rid of all morality. Um, but that's real too. Atheism is dangerous, very dangerous.
I just want them to explain what they think being an atheist is. That's basically, I just want to hear it from an atheist because there's mixed definitions.
Will atheists in the room please stand up?
I'm not going to get you, and
Crickets.
I'm not going to get you. That
Dr. Omega, are
people
you an
think I'm little.
atheist?
I
You want to
I would
be?
say more of an agnostic.
Okay. Tell the
Um
room what an
well
agnostic is.
well and not even that. Actually, it's not what I'm thinking of is not the same thing as atheism. It's more like it's just different understanding of what you would call God. Uh, I don't consider Buddhism a religion, but I do consider myself a Buddhist. And the Buddha looked at the whole phenomenon of God and gods, plural, because the Buddha was born in India. And speaking of Nepal, one of the reasons why it's such a mystical and magical place is because of the actions and achievements and the endeavors of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. But he was very much a child of India, and he did believe in, or he was raised to believe in reincarnation and the multitude of deities. But what he came to conclude is that whether or not you believe in these beings or whether or not you acknowledge them, you cannot rely on them for your liberation. So, in that sense, that's what I do. That's how I approach the concept of God. Um,
So, didn't the Buddha say that he didn't want people to make a religion of him and that he was a man, he wasn't supernatural? So, why are people really Buddhists today are offensive? Because this man, the Buddha, he did not want to be in a religion and he found enlightenment. So, if they keep lying, and saying that they're the reincarnation of the Buddha, they're saying that he didn't get enlightenment because he keeps coming back
yeah, exactly,
in little
exactly.
boys.
Well,
So
that
it's very offensive. Why do they do that?
Well, and the Buddha predicted this sort of thing. First of all, he acknowledged, he said right off the bat, I am not the first and I'm not the last. He did, like I said, he did believe and he did to some degree acknowledge the phenomenon of reincarnation, but he didn't believe in a permanent uh, structure that is what we would call the ego. He didn't believe in its everlastingness. He thought, you know, it's not real. It's what we call ego. We that thing that we attach our individual identities to. It's not. It doesn't mean anything. The analogy is a candle of a flame on a candle. If the fire goes out, where does the fire go? So that's what the Buddha that's what the Buddha considered. That's what he looked at as the soul. Like the soul is analogous to a flame on a
Mhm.
candle. If the
Now,
it can be relit in that regard. And I'm sorry, I don't want mean to ramble, but to your point, the Buddha predicted that what he should be to us is not a deity to be worshipped, but he's an example. He's if
right.
the idea is that if you ever despair that you're trapped, that you're stuck, that liberation is not possible, at the very least, there was this one dude a few thousand years ago. He did it. I promise you, he did it. It's not a matter of faith. Buddhism doesn't have anything to do with faith. It's not about, oh, if you believe this, this will happen. It's like, no, if you follow A, B, C, D, you will get the results of
No,
E. And
Yeah,
I agree with what
that's what
you're
he's supposed to do.
saying. The Buddha did find ways to be enlightened, and those are legitimate ways to achieve some sort of peace of mind as much as you can in the world. But another thing is, why is it that when I'm in a so called Buddhist country, I find it hard to get a vegan meal? And one of the precepts is you can't kill anything. Because I said, I'm going to be a Buddhist. I tried every religion. I mean, I gave it a good college try. And when I do something, I'm perfect at it. I wanted to see it. And you can't kill anything. And I mean, nothing, not even a gnat. So that day that I
That's that.
said I'm going to be a Buddhist, um, I had a banana on the counter and some fruit flies came over there. Guess what? I'm a murderer. Then I went on a date and I needed to get the hell up out of there. So I had to tell a big boatload of lies to go home. It was terrible. I failed at being a Buddhist. I had to tell some white lies and murder some flies. So that was that day.
Well, what you described there was actually Jainism. Jainism is one of the three major distinct spiritual traditions to come out of India, including Hinduism and Buddhism. There's actually there's a lot of there's a lot of reasons why there's the misconception that Buddhism is about pacifism. Obviously, if we look at the Japanese and the way they rolled with Buddhism, they were Zen Buddhists, and Zen Buddhists, that's what the divine wind, kamikaze. They weren't all about peace and love, and there's reasons why different people can get the different interpretations of what the Buddha, what path he walked. He did believe in absolute nonviolence, and in certain parts of Asia, in most of Asia, outside of India, he's known as the god of nonviolence. If he's the god of anything, he's the god of nonviolence. But nonviolence and pacifism are two completely different things. Nonviolence has nothing to do with being passive. So a big,
And I was
big
told
misconception.
that I said, why are you guys eating so much meat and you're not supposed to eat any meat? And they said, oh, that's just the priests. Okay. And I was like, you mean people like the Dalai Lama who sucks down steaks?
But keep in mind, Adolf Hitler was a legit vegetarian.
Yeah, he's a
So
lot of stuff.
what does that tell you? It's
Not
about
a lot.
it's about your mindset. It's about your mindset. The point is to,
I'm not criticizing them.
yeah.
I'm just saying, why can't these people follow their rules? You're making the rule up and then you're not following them. I mean, they only have a few rules. Don't kill anything. That's one of the rules. It's simple. Just say you're not a Buddhist because you want to have a cheeseburger. How are you claiming to be this if you're not doing any of these things? Plus, the traditional drinks are alcoholic. The traditional drinks are fermented. Fermented milks. It's like everything it says not to do, they're doing it. You're not supposed to have intoxicants, they're drunk. You're not supposed to eat meat, they're eating. Most of these countries eat horse meat and drink mare's milk and have traditional milks, fermented milks. It's like this is everything I don't want. I don't want alcoholic beverages and I don't drink dairy products, but you're shoving this in my face. And you're a Buddhist. You're not even supposed to be having any of this stuff. What am I missing?
yeah,
Does anyone does anyone else
well,
you want to take that? Go for it.
what you're missing, what we're missing, Wani, is that people across the world use religion and turn it into a tool of control. Islam, when it first began, was called Mohammedism. I have a hard time saying it, Mohammedanism, and
Mohammedan, like a Mohammedan.
right,
That's what they call a Muslim, a Mohammedan.
and they would walk up to people with a sword, put it up to their neck, and literally say, "Muhammad or die." I don't even need to say anything else behind that. Constantine had a vision of the cross, and his dream, and his vision, whatever you want to call it, said, "You will conquer in the sign of this." So they don't. I think our brother Tariq Nasheed the other day said it right. Like we're, and I'm paraphrasing Tariq, but he was like, foundational Black Americans are spiritual. We look for the spiritual connection, whereas these people use religions to basically conquer. That's what Dr. John Henry Clark said. So, which is which goes back to the topic: should FBAs invite outsiders into our events? No, we shouldn't even invite them into our spiritual systems because they will corrupt them. I can see a foundational Black American inviting a group of Europeans or outsiders to a Majara prayer, and the European write down what Majara prayers are, and somehow turn that into a weapon, because that's what they do according to history, is they turn everything into a fucking weapon. Psychology, right? Supposed to make your mind right and clear your mind, right? Wrong. It's been turned into a weapon. um uh, uh Medicine, Adderall, what does that do? It gets kids addicted, allegedly. It's all weapon. Like, we need it. Dr. John Henry Clark said it right when he said nothing has come out the European's mind. Absolutely nothing has come out the European mind that wasn't used to facilitate world domination. I don't know when we're gonna learn that.
No, so we didn't get any atheists in the room. Where's Seven? He likes to say no to stuff I'm saying.
He saw atheism and was like, nah.
Oh, he's dogging me now. Oh, that's cold blooded. Now listen, I need to hear this. Are you saying atheists that won't come up on the stage that all these balls spinning around in the air just happen to be lined up perfectly, and if they move one ball moves the wrong way, the whole thing falls apart. The ocean doesn't work right. The sky caves in. You think that's random? How's that random?
Yeah, the real issue is, how can there be a creation without a creator? How's that work?
I'm trying to find out because what they're thinking, because some people are saying, I don't like Christianity, therefore there's no God, as though that's God. That's just one interpretation of something. So I'm just trying to get them to come up and explain how all of these mechanisms that we can see around us that are making this thing go, how are they saying that that's just random and these things just popped up out of nowhere? They clearly didn't. I mean, even hardcore scientists admit there has to be an intelligence behind the way that these things function. I'm not saying that I don't like the way that things function because it's really violent when you look at the way that everything on earth functions. Why do animals have to eat each other alive? Why can't everyone just eat grass and trees? But it's set up in a way where carnivorous animals eat omnivores. And it is set up in a way that you can see a lot of violence in this environment, but it has been created by an intelligence.
Yeah, it's an intelligent design, you know. I don't have anything on the atheist argument. I do think that a lot of religions have been skewed. I think the concept of having faith is an insult. And I think, Dr. Omega was alluding to this. The concept of just believe is an insult. Um, Spiritual systems are scientific. There's a way to becoming more spiritual. There are sciences that are lost, and Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen alluded that all these religions are pieces. Yosef Ben Yakinen said that it was Professor James Small. He said all these religions are pieces of a spiritual, fragments of a spiritual system that are misunderstood. I think Christianity is at its concept. at its core concept is true. But I think from experiences I've had and research that I've done, it's taken out of concept. I think context. I think the Christ energy, actually, no offense to anybody in here, but the word Christ is a misnomer. It was Karist with a K, Karast, Karist. Charis means the bringer of gifts. The Episcopalians know this. If you drive past an Episcopalian church that says Church of the Charis, they know this. I think that the Charis energy is an energy that can be accessed by all of us. It can come through us. I think the Europeans kind of skewed that because it may be kind of dangerous for them should we all tap into the Charis energy, to the Christ energy. Um, and out of that fear, they made us go outside. Everything's backwards, ladies and gentlemen. They have made us look outside of ourselves to wait on somebody to come back through the sky. When I think the Christ or the Christ energy is going to come from within, but it's all taken out of context.
And certainly, there used to be a mystical tradition in Christianity. There used to be Christian mystics, and that all kind of went out the door. Same thing with Islam. Islam used to
With
be,
Gnostics,
yeah, Islam used to be really big on mysticism, like people like Rumi. Um,
you mean the whirling dervishes?
what was that?
The whirling dervishes,
Um, that sounds vaguely familiar. What is that again? Describe that.
It's the
mystics.
spinning
Yeah,
religious people.
Do I remember? I'm not familiar with that. I
you
learned
just look
something new.
them up real quick. Whirling dervishes.
Whirling dervishes. I'll look that up. I'll look that up. To go back to the atheism question, just to play for
Hold
like,
on, can I ask you a question? Do you say "Oh my God" when you're about to climax?
Oh my God.
Oh Lord.
Oh Lord.
Mm.
I, I think it was
Oh.
Dick Gregory or somebody said in combat atheists when in the army or some in combat when the self-proclaimed atheists are about to die, they say, "Oh my God."
Or and the other side of that, the other part of that joke is, or they say, "Holy shit."
Oh yeah.
Oh Lord.
But going back to the atheist thing, just to play devil's advocate for no pun intended, we can't underestimate the power of despair and loss and confusion and doubt. The power of doubt, and all these faiths, they talk about doubt. They talk about how doubt is a part of the process, and we can't underestimate how some people may react to that. And like when you think about, I'll take me for example. Obviously, I'm FBA all day, but I'm not. I wouldn't identify myself as a Christian, and it was pretty obvious to me from an early age that Christianity wasn't going to give me what I needed, not just in terms of having a grasp of a concrete grasp of the world that I was in, which was at the time when I was a kid, because I started developing cognitively pretty early. My mom got me into reading when I was like 4 years old, so I started reading at age 4. But and the first books that I read were a King James children's Bible that had like pictures here and there, little pictures throughout, and a book on ancient Hellenism. So it was something someone's starts with a D. Diolary's Books of Greek Myths. It's this really big um, picture book of Greek mythology and the ancient Greek religion. So I grew up just with those two basically religious texts, and it got me really accustomed to polytheism. And I was actually really surprised when I came of age and found out that the most of the world, at least where I was living, was not polytheistic. And then combine that with my creeping understanding of systemic white supremacy and anti-black racism, and then I'm looking at these Bibles and I'm seeing white Jesus, and it's just like, that doesn't really work for me. So that sort of cognitive dissonance started hitting me early, and it led me to looking at more Eastern traditions, just for the simple fact that I saw non-white people practicing them. So that's what sort of turned me to that.
But they've ethnically branded all of that stuff for Asians, and they give you the side eye when you try to get into it. But one thing I wanted to say about Eastern religions, um, all of the religions have a method of meditation. And the best thing that I've ever discovered from Eastern religions is meditating. It's kind of hard to do. It's so easy, it's hard to do. That's weird, but it's true. It's easy, but it's hard. Um, and eating differently, eating right, or eating in a healthy manner, that can really clear up the way that you think. And there's some things that are not even religious that can get you to these higher states that you want to be at, and just improve your brain in general.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this that brings me to the point that I was yeah, I was going to get to the how that ties into the Buddha's journey, because we have to remember the Buddha was born into a Hindu system, but he himself, the whole purpose of his journey was that he didn't feel this super eternal lasting connection to an eternal constant God, because he saw suffering, he saw death, he saw sickness, he saw rebirth, and it was the rebirth part that really got him kind of sort of messed up in the head, just finding out that we are kind of stuck here on this plane, just chasing desire and death and desire and death and desire and death. And he just, another thing that attracted me to Buddhism, and this was more unconsciously, is that I realized that he was sort of struggling with the same things that we were struggling, because it wasn't so much that the religion of Hinduism, was had become completely bankrupt, and that's not to say that it is today, but it's just that it had become like the black church has become today. Whereas when the Buddha was born, the priestly caste, basically the Brahmins, and they're still doing this day. The Brahmins, it's the Brahmins that fuck up Hinduism. It's Brahmanism. It's this idea that there's and because you can study the caste system has a logic to it that makes sense if you think about it from a certain perspective. And make a brief example. Basically, the idea behind the caste system is that it's analogous. Society is analogous to the human body. So just like you don't use your mouth to open doors, you don't use your feet to open your
Says
refrigerator.
who?
There are
Says
certain
who?
people in society are better
You
suited
don't know
to
me.
do I know, right? The idea is that certain people in society are better suited to do certain tasks. So you use your hand to open a door. So certain people, the kshatriyas, if I'm pronouncing that right, are the warrior class. They represent the arm of Indian society. So the Buddha was born into the warrior class. Certain people represent the more intellectual side. They're better at that. So you use your head to think. You don't use your head to sort of close stuff.
No, you're absolutely right. And the most successful societies are built with that warrior class, craftsmen, you know, laborers. You're absolutely right. It is a good structure, but I think two things I don't like about it is that being stuck in it. So if I'm born into a warrior class, but I'm really more of a spiritual person and a teacher, I shouldn't be frozen in that and have it part of my ethnicity, damn near.
Exact, which is that's what the Buddha spent a lot of his living life combating, was the resistive Brahmins who were like, who is this guy? He should just be, you should just be training and doing push-ups and whatever, shooting bows and arrows. Don't worry about the religious stuff. But what it said about the Buddha, he was the body of a warrior, but he had the temperament of a Brahmin. So he had the temperament of the religious class. So, and he left his, everyone knows the legends. He left his palace life. He had harems, he had hoes, he had the whole 9 yards. He had gold and silver. And that's another thing that I found attractive.
Harems and
Oh, he had
hoes.
harems and hoes.
Bam,
He
Buddha,
did.
what
Let's not
up?
lie. Let's not lie. So speaking of Shannon Sharp, so that's another thing. When right?
Put a
So
big black baby in me.
exactly. So
I'm still saying
so
that. That's my new phone ringer.
what I like about that story is that it makes it more relatable to the average man and the average woman too. So this idea of desire, like he had been there, he had seen it and done it all, and it didn't lead him into any lasting satisfaction. So that's what has spurred him on his journey. But the idea, he transcended that idea that we have to have rigid roles for, what we have to stay in this fixed position. That's why so many people were drawn to his message. He broke the Brahmins chains that they had on society. And I think that that's what we have to do as FBAs. We have to break the chains that the corrupt pastors and priests, because yeah, and not I don't identify as a Christian, but I still empathize with my Christian brethren, brothers and sisters. And, I think there's something there worth saving, but it has to be deeply, uprooted and re-examined, the same way that the Buddha had to do with Hinduism and Brahmanism, where he just had to say because it had just become about mindless rituals, it had become corrupted. It became more about who was doing what, not why they were doing it. The same way that it's become with the Black Church.
Uh,
Um,
c- Can I
Uh-oh.
ask you a quick question?
yeah,
To get to the root of this, is this Mister Omega? Who's? It doesn't show me
doc,
who's talking.
doctor.
Doctor Omega.
Dr.
Okay. Um, no, you don't have to say this for yourself, but the people that you find that are atheists, is it on average, have they had some kind of abuse, like underage abuse? Is that a common theme?
Type of question is that?
Well, it's.
I think they're
I think
just
it's.
a lot of the atheists because they were talking to me for a reason. I don't want to say why. They don't like they're pissed off at religion. Like they prayed for a new car or something and they didn't get it, or something happened. They're like pissed off at the Christian God, and this is they're just kicking, and it's basically they're throwing a tantrum. They don't even know what the hell they're talking about, to be
I
honest.
just think.
But I still wanted to talk
All
to.
of the atheists I know are atheists because they're normally scientists or Wissenschaftler.
I think that comes
Yeah.
from people. I'm talking about on a race, scale that have very thin and very small penises.
Uh, Okay, this sounds like a Shannon Sharp conversation.
Oh, look at
uh,
this statue with my tiny small penis. I'm so
uh,
smart.
What's up with that penis thing in Greece? Did they trying to tell us
Hey,
something?
what them look here say? Pause.
Pause.
Oh,
I
oh,
can't say
Hey,
I went to
I mean,
HSU,
God
Humboldt
doesn't
State
exist if it's
University.
that small. I mean, I'm just saying.
I think what
mm-mm.
makes it difficult, like I said, I was going back, just to play devil's advocate. Think about, when they think about the atheists, when they're thinking about all these interreligious conflicts. What if you know you're being invaded, you're in Pakistan and you're being invaded by the India, and they're saying, okay, you got to swear allegiance to Brahman and not Muhammad and not Allah. It's- it-
Wait,
how is
they
the
say
atheist
that?
responsible for that sort of stuff? Who's the bad guy there? Is the atheist the bad guy? I'm speaking as just the devil's advocate. Them observing stuff like that as a third party. That's why some people throw up their hands and say, you know what, the hell with this religious nonsense. I'm just
I see. I haven't met anybody who's scientifically opposed because a lot of the scientists that I know, they don't think that things just randomly have planets hanging up in the sky with precision, distances to keep everything in line. They don't believe that that's just random. Some of them do because they're stupid and they're stuck on separating. Oh, if you believe in this, you can't be a scientist. They're not thinking clearly. I just want a legitimate reason why someone would think that way. And the two people types of people that I've met, stubborn scientists that ignore the bulk of scientists that don't believe that, and people that are just angry with religion because things didn't go right in their life and they felt like they were good. A lot of people are going to say that. A lot of people are going to say, hey, I was a good person, I did charity, and I got all this bad luck. And it does make people feel disillusioned, like I'm doing good things and I'm looking at all the serial killers having fun, so what's up with that? So that's a reason that people turn and they say I'm an atheist, but that doesn't have anything to do with it. Doesn't have anything to do with what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the man in the sky with the beard. I'm speaking about nature and how it works and how it cannot be random.
Right.
Okay, nature is not random. The black man.
Oh, is this Darth Vader?
Hey, hold up, hold
Yeah,
up,
it is. It is Darth Vader.
Hi.
hold up,
Darth Vader is
I think it's
Goku.
very
I
white.
like that movie.
Yeah, I love it too.
hold on, real. You somebody was ahead of you.
I think it's very white, y'all.
We're gonna go to Saintisma. She had a comment. Go ahead, Saintisma.
I'm also on stage.
Yeah, this sister that was talking earlier about this spinning around when the people do that. I've seen that off in Turkey, and that is a form also of meditation when they just spin around and around and around, and then they have one hand up and the other hand down, and that's normally happens in Turkey. Um, Me myself, I'm Santa Morte, and I came to Santa Morte not because of all these issues, my penis is small, or God didn't do this, buy this for me, or something like that. I firmly believe that is the only thing that we will ever know as a power, is the power of death. Now, right now, because I just happened to be studying Mandarin, I got accepted last week at the Confucius Institute, where I'm going to be studying my Mandarin in the future. And so I know that I'm going to come in contact with the philosophy of Confucius. And then maybe I'll have some other type of ideology. But as far as anything else, I just believe that there's no other or God identity, or the whatever has to do with maybe somebody else thinking God is just death. And that's all there is death. And so when
That's
you
very
get death, I don't
uplifting.
think that we're going to be born again, or
Okay,
coming back into the sky, or
let me
all of
ask you
this
a quick
stuff.
question. What
Hmm.
is a Santa Morte Ian do?
Excuse me.
What do they do?
Santa Morte is, it's different from everyone. There's no church of that or something like that. It's just something that crosses your path, and then it lets you know that basically that you have to think about what you do as far as nature. Yeah, it has a lot to do with nature, and that if you're asking for some type of mercy or something to be given to you, then it is better to ask death.
Okay,
And
so
and it, and it works pretty good for
if
me.
I want a Ferrari and I'm practicing this, whatever this is, Santa Morte. I'm actually
Yeah,
scared to
but
say
it's
it.
not about material things, it's about
Okay.
nature. So I
It's or
wouldn't ask for
shh, it's
a
I'm not
Maserati.
asking for one, I'm just joking.
Uh-huh.
Um it says its origins are rooted in Aztec goddess
Yeah,
who ruled the underworld.
good now.
Um what what do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah,
I
this is a skeleton with a veil on it.
Yeah.
Or do you have to kill anybody? Cats, dogs, animals,
You don't have to kill
hamsters?
anybody,
I
but I
think you
know.
do. I think you do.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I'm gonna
No, you
prove you
don't.
do.
That's some type of propaganda coming from stateside
Oh,
over
come
to
on.
mix up the Mexican mafia and all
You
of this
lying.
madness. No, but I noticed that since I follow Santa Morte, I have had people that have done me wrong, that I have found out that these people have come to their demise, and it just happened to be
See,
death. But I
this
did
is
not ever ask for anyone's
this
death.
is negative. You sure you want to get involved with this?
I don't find it negative, because I for me it's been everything positive, that I have
Okay.
a very before I
Enjoy
was
yourself.
before I was having issues, like like with poverty, being having a roof over my head, health issues and all types of stuff here. And then when I started to follow Santa Morte, then I don't have to be bitter, because I know that the other person will get justice. And then
And
I
they don't
noticed that
believe
I
in
was
the
getting justice in these things.
So,
and they don't believe just one real quick. And they don't believe in reincarnation, correct?
Right. We don't believe in reincarnation. We believe that death is final. There is no reincarnation.
It
If
That's
there
sounds like
was
y'all
some
my
believe in
form of
revenge.
reincarnation, then people, they would have already had contact with people that have been reincarnated somehow.
that's in key that kind of falls in line with some of the what the shaman in that region say. They don't believe you're coming back.
No, you don't. You have to make your be right now and enjoy your life now and be positive now. And the thing is that then you hope, yeah, and you pray. And maybe some people pray, but I hope to have a light death. Yeah.
Keep in mind that under the context of yoga and meditation, from the yogic perspective, not saying Buddhism or Hinduism, the goal is not to keep reincarnate. That's the whole point, is to not keep reincarnating. You don't want to keep coming back over and over and over again. The whole point, the reason why you keep reincarnating is because in under the yogic philosophy is that you're a slave to desire, and
That's right.
everyone goes out the same way, clinging to life. Basically everyone wants one more day, one more hour, one more second, one more minute. And that was the last great tale of the Buddha, is that he even felt that creeping up on him at a certain point. And Wanda, you asked about the Buddha. The idea is that, yeah, the Buddha, he lived a vegetarian lifestyle for most of his life, and the theory, or the story, or the tall tale, is that he felt that his time was coming, that he, was going to pass away, and he wanted to find a quick way out, and so he just accepted some bad pork and was like, "Oh wow,
Oh my God, that's painful.
yeah." He just ate some bad pork, and then he just, had
Bad
some
pork?
dysentery, and then just dropped dead, because, yeah, he's just like, I did everything that I needed to do, and he was starting to feel that according to the stories, he was starting to feel that very terrestrial need to extend his life. And the idea is that he wasn't. You talk about what he is. People worshiping him as a god. He he is not. He's not just an average dude, in the sense that, from the perspective of being reincarnated, is that he did live a lot of multitude of lives, and over the course of those lives, he did, under the theory of reincarnation, and he did build up a lot of good merit, but he still, hadn't achieved the lasting liberation. So the idea was that, he could have, in theory, lived. They say he could have lived another 2 million years or 100 million years, if the
What are
world
we
needed him
talking
to.
about,
That
y'all?
much?
Yeah,
Was
What
was
are we
if the
No
world
talking
was
needed him
about?
Buddha
to, but
black? Was
way.
Buddha
Good
black?
be me.
but
Yes, he
What are we
was.
talking
that's
about,
that's
y'all?
where you get into the mythology, and that's.
No, I
Well,
don't agree with the
but
let's
but then
mythology.
but
You
then
weird
but then you
motherfucker.
but then
hold on a
you got
second.
people in the Bible living to 649 years old. You know what I'm saying?
That's a different group.
So
They're
it's
not like us.
Come on, bro.
but
You
We
said
don't
but either
live
two
like
way,
million
moms.
though, bro.
I'm not
but
gonna lie. I love it when a room gets like this.
but either
I
way,
love
but think about it.
this.
But think about it.
Yeah,
We
like I'm
like
finna
What's the
fall
chaos.
asleep,
what's the
I
bro.
point?
I
This
don't
shit
believe
goofy.
that
Is the
people in
concept
the
of going to
Bible
heaven any
have
different? Is the
600
hold on? Is the
years.
concept of
Then
going to
what?
heaven any different? The concept
Different than what?
what's going to happen when you go to heaven? You're going to live
Heaven and hell
forever,
are
right?
conditions of
Well,
life.
you get 72
Heaven
virgin
and hell are
camels.
conditions of life.
But the point is not being attached to terrestrial, not being attached to any sort of conscious existence. Like that's what gets us messed up. So whatever the Buddha, so the people, the Buddha didn't answer questions about what comes after death, because he didn't want people stuck on that. It's like, whether the point is to live a full life and die happy, no matter what comes afterwards. That was his point. He did so. but he didn't say definitively whether or not there was an afterlife, whether or not there was God. He didn't answer those
And
types of
who
questions
made you the
because
king philosopher of Buddha and
because
everything?
he
He's the king of Buddhas. Now let's get back to
The
these
Buddha black.
cornrows that the Buddha was sporting. Now he had some serious hardcore cornrows working and
He had
some
the
oh
nostrils
yeah,
natural
and
hair.
lips
Thank
yeah.
and
They
you.
described him. He
Thank
was
many,
you.
definitely a
many
black
feathers.
man. He was a
And
black
he
man
was
for sure.
skinny. Yeah. And his name was
And all
Prasanna.
of a sudden, he became a chubby,
No,
portly, very pale
that's a
individual with
misconception.
silky hair.
That's a Chinese deity named Budai. That's not the Buddha. The people, a
You
lot of
sure?
yeah, no, there's a big misconception. That's a Chinese.
Come on, cut the
th-
crap.
that's a Chinese.
Mm,
There's a legend behind that. It was a Chinese
I didn't
Buddhist
say it was
monk.
a Buddha.
The legend is there was a Chinese Buddhist monk who was so allegedly so enlightened and so calm and peaceful. People kept saying what he considered blasphemous things. They said, "Oh, you're the Buddha reincarnated. You're the Buddha reincarnated. You're so skinny. You're so disciplined. You practice yoga every day. You don't gorge yourself." And the legend is that he got so disgusted with that he magically transformed himself into a giant fat guy, just so people would stop disrespecting the Buddha's name. That so
What?
it's a so that's so the fat guy you
Oh,
see, that's
wow.
his name is Budai. It's Budai. That's not the
I don't want to
Buddha.
look it up.
His name is
I can't
Budai.
do it.
His name
I'm
is
just going
Budai.
to focus on the cornrow guy.
Yeah, that's the Buddha. That's the Buddha. That's Siddhartha Gautama, the Indian prince, who was historically verified. He did live at some point in the BCE era.
All right, we're
But
gonna. I appreciate Dr. Omega. We're gonna come back to
Okay,
you, but
thank you, Caucasian, knowing everything about our
hold,
shit.
hold on,
That's
hold
crazy.
on, hold on, hold on. Let's not talk over each other. We're gonna go.
Yeah, let's make sure we go in order too, because some people been here for a while.
Yeah, I think
With all due respect.
right on, Nikki. Let's go. Let's see what the real talking about. What real, in White Owl, or what does that say? In Night Owl, real Night Owl. What are
Yeah,
your
the real.
thoughts?
I
Cash
apologize.
is
Go ahead
speaking
and
for me.
unmute yourself. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm unmuted now, so I apologize for my deep voice. I actually got it from my father. He was from Ruston, Louisiana. So yeah, I sound like Dog Vader. Whatever.
You do.
Yeah, well,
All right.
that's really cool
That's
though.
good.
That's really
That's
cool.
good. You also could sound like Barry White as well.
Yeah, I can sing too and rap. But anyway, Wani, I like you. You know, you on the spot. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that first of all, let's deal with the word belief. What does belief mean? It means to accept something to be true, even though you don't have the evidence to support it. See, there's a difference between knowledge and belief. All those books y'all talking about is just books of wisdom. And you utilize that wisdom. It's a wise word from wise men. There's no difference between Buddha and any other black man in America. You should be not focused on Gautama Buddha or anybody over there in the East, unless you're going to trace your lineage to Southeast Asia and how we came across the Pacific to California. You can do all. I want you to understand this. Knowledge is look, listen, observe, and respect. It is the accumulation of facts. First of all, you are the Buddha. That's why first of all, you are the Muhammad and all of that. That's why the world is circumambulating around us 7 times a day, 7 days a week. First of all, you have to understand the black man is God and the black woman is earth. All the God, the women of divinity of the past have been fertility deities. The black woman is akin to the earth and the moon. Her 28-day cycle revolves around the moon is a symbol of the black woman. And I am the sun, which my photons are like sperm giving life to the earth. Black people, you worried about all of these saviors and shit. You had a savior. See, in the Quran it say Allah sends a savior to every people. Your savior is the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I'm no Nation of Islam Muslim. I'm a 5%er for the nation of God's of earth, but I support the FBA because I'm FBA. My father was from Louisiana. My mother was from Missouri. My granddaddy and them, they came from Arkansas. They
Well,
came.
hold up. You've made a bold claim. Why did you say that our Savior is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? Why did you say that?
Savior is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad because he came for with a message to the black man in America. He was delineating before you was delineating in 1930. See, this is a message that you fail to acknowledge, and that's why we ain't got no power. The white man is the devil. Straight up. There is no mystery God, no mystery science, and there's no mystery devil. Everything we have was within us, and that's why the universe works in our favor. We're not obeying the laws in which we created this universe for. We created it. That's why the Holy Quran says, surely we did this. We did that. What you're doing is you're looking for religion. You're looking for some escapism. It's all escapism that you're looking for. What you have to do is look within yourself, because even Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. And see, what your failure to do is knowledge of self. We started out right with the movement for our lineage, understanding the knowledge of ourselves. But we fucked up when we start to not delineate from religions and all things of the world that don't pertain to black. And blackness is not akin to whiteness. It's not a mental mind construct. First of all, even carbon is black and is 666, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. That's what makes life exist, and it is totally black. We are the origin of the universe, and y'all playing with this wisdom of people who had this enlightenment. All of the gods on earth are black gods. People in Greece, people in Anatolia, people in India, people in Mexico, even with what was his name? Quetzalcoatl was black at first. The only reason why them indigenous black people down in there in Mexico submitted to him because they were white, and the prophecy said Quetzalcoatl will return as a pillar of light, and they thought the light-skinned conquistadors was the return of Quetzalcoatl, the black god. Let me tell y'all something. God is black, the black woman is earth. Mother Earth. The mother of earth. And if you have any a rebuttal for that, just ask why the photons from the sun is just like the sperm from the black man that impregnates the planet Earth. That is 24,896 miles in circumference, 7,926 miles in diameter. You want to get that figure? Just divide the world 24,896 miles by pi, and then you will get that diameter. Listen, we know all of the foundations of the earth. I know every square inch is 12 million square inches of this planet Earth. Let me tell you something. You need to stop playing with religion. Leave white people alone. Leave religion alone. Look within self and do the knowledge, not belief. Belief will get you nowhere. Belief is to accept something to be true without proof of it. Knowledge is facts, that which can be shown and proven. And none of these people in the Bible have a graveyard. None of these people you talking about have graveyards. Stop playing with ancient history and start understanding that ancient history is us here in America. We are making history. And if you keep uh, running from yourself and who we are, then you will be steeped in religion. And guess what? You'll be steeped in belief, and you will never build anything in reality. Listen, the white man, the Caucasian white man, is the devil on earth, and the black man is God on earth. And
Well,
that is,
let's stop right there. So,
wait, hold up.
no,
And
hold on. Oh, you made some
let,
bold
let me, let
claims.
me, let
Ho-
me, okay,
ho- ho-
I'll
ho-
let
Hold
you address it,
hold on,
but let me just
hold
finish
on.
with
You made a bold
one
claim,
minor point.
but before
Let me, okay, go ahead.
before you move forward,
Go ahead.
what I'm not arguing with you. I just want you to expound upon a point. What's the origin of this white man?
The origin of this white man started in Mesopotamia. It started in India, and it was a grafting process that was agreed upon by our people to make a Caucasian. Now, the first Caucasians came into history. They were the people that was on the outskirts of ancient Kemet, and they were known as the Hittites. See, the ancient Kemetians had a word for them. They called them devils too. And the first slaves in history were Caucasians. That's where you get the Yugoslavians, descendants from those slaves, because they knew better than you do. And all your white education. See, I'm a student of a law, a black man. I don't I don't have any knowledge from the white man's institutions, but I will confound their institutions just like Malcolm did. Because guess what? I have the same body of knowledge that he has, and I was an FOY, and I went through the same training that he has. But I'm here to tell y'all, it ain't about the Nation of Islam. It ain't about that. What it's about is us learning the knowledge of ourselves, not religion, not anyone else, the knowledge of ourself in relationship to our universe. Now, you want to be having, you want to read the Upanishads or the Emu Elish or any other jackleg motherfucker that comes up with some pseudoscience. He might.
That was my fault. Unmute yourself. I was scrolling. Unmute yourself, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay, okay, I'm back. I didn't know that. Listen, you know, like I said, life is created in the womb of a black woman in triple darkness, and that's very holy, but her womb has been polluted, mixed down, tampered with. It's not holy anymore. The black woman has allowed devils to run through her. The black woman goes out at night and allows devils to molest her in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Get pulled over, devils searching us. You know what I'm saying? How could you talk about fucking Gautama Buddha when you a black man in America and your black woman is being molested? Fuck Gautama Buddha.
Well, give us. I hear what you're saying. It's real interesting,
Dude, let me
but
tell you something.
give us
We
some.
are the moral code of America.
Give us somewhere to look, because you mentioned the Quran, and my thing is
Okay,
what makes you think the
I can
Quran
mention the
is
Bible too.
reliable?
I can mention the Bible too. The Bible say ye are God,
I
sons and daughters
hold
of
on.
the Most High
I
God.
never said the Bible was reliable. I
But
said give
I
us
didn't say,
somewhere to look that
listen,
is reliable.
I said all of these books are books of wisdom.
Relax a minute. Did you think we were talking about religion when you came
Yeah.
in?
First of
Because we're
all,
getting a big sermon like we're
no, no, no,
religious
no, 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 no,
pushers.
no, no. Listen,
Okay, I just want to make
okay,
sure
okay.
this wasn't a
Like I
Christian
said, listen,
revival.
there are certain individuals in this room that have studied to a point where they understand certain principles and certain things in life. But there's certain people in this room that are religious. But what I'm saying is, either way, either or, all of those books, whether it be the Quran, the Zenavista, the Coptic Bible, the Keeper and the Guest, or whether it be any books, the Emu Elish or the Vendettas, or it be Jainism, or it be Sufism or agnosticism. It doesn't matter. That's all wisdom. It's just a wise word, like hearing a wise word from your grandmother. See, builders build, and guess what? You have to just focus on knowledge
Well,
after the
well,
facts.
well, where my
Can I?
question is, and we're gonna move on to another person, but just to
Yeah,
answer this,
that'll
where,
be fine.
where, given the fact these books are not reliable, that's a
I don't
fact.
say they were. See, now you putting words in my mouth, brother. I
Hold on,
didn't say they
hold on.
wasn't
Stop. Hey, stop being
reliable.
emotional. Stop being emotional. I didn't say that. I didn't
Emotional.
say that you said they were reliable. I said they're not reliable.
Okay, wisdom is not reliable.
Hold on. Can you stop being emotional for one moment?
Okay, can I ask
Let
you a question?
No. I'm gonna finish my
Okay,
statement.
now you being emotional because I can't ask you a question.
You need to calm down, Darth Vader. I have a question for you because you're professing to know a lot, and I'm just trying to find a source. Like I said, like I said, I didn't say you said shit. Like I said, given the fact that these books are unreliable, since you profess to know the absolute truth, where would one look to find out these facts of which you speak?
I had to, I
Oh,
had to unmute myself because the professor muted me and he's calling me names. But yes, he says I'm emotional. Okay,
Hey man, respect his space.
okay. Let me say this.
Just respect his space.
Well, you know
That's
what?
all I'm gonna tell
When
you.
it's name calling, brother, it's name calling. Okay, what I'm gonna say is this, though.
hold on one second, sir. Hold on one second, because
I
now
didn't,
you
I
just
didn't call
lying.
you anything. You
I don't
called me
recall.
Darth Vader.
Hold on. Can you stop being emotional?
See, now you calling me
I'm
emotional, but I'm not. I'm passionate, and guess what? I'm passionate about the truth, sucker. I got balls, and I speak the truth.
and I'm asking you, sir. I'm not in my feelings. I'm just trying to find out where can one find out where the truth is. I care not about your feelings, and I care not about your passion. I'm a scientist. I care about the truth.
Okay,
So can you please calm down and tell me where to look to find the truth? And don't say Quran. Don't say Bible. Go.
okay, that's a good thing. First of all, I'm not emotional, and I will continue to speak passionately, like Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad spoke passionately about the truth. And listen, don't come with that professor shit. Let me tell you something, brother.
Hey bro, let me tell
Wait,
you
wait, hold
something,
on. Because he
brother.
asked me a
You're gonna
question
come
and I'm getting
respect his
to it.
space,
He
brother.
asked me a
You're gonna come.
question and I'm
You got
getting
no,
to it.
no, no. I don't care. Shut your mouth
No,
if you
you
talking.
can shut your
You're gonna
mouth because I'm
respect
from
him. You're gonna
Compton,
respect his
California.
space. I don't give a shit, boy. You're gonna respect his
Listen, if
space. You
you
gotta
if
come with
you
some
want
goddamn
if you
sense. Otherwise, you can get dropped or get the fuck out. Simple.
listen,
Yeah, yeah, I appreciate it, Captain, but believe it or not, I'm not even in my feelings. I'm just trying to find out. The gentleman brought it, and I'm not emotional. I'm just me. The gentleman keeps talking over me, and I'm just really trying to find out where the truth is. He made bold claims that he knows where the truth is, and actually, I'm excited. I want to know where to find the truth, and I don't want to hear that it's in the Quran or the Bible. I want to know if the gentleman knows a place where I can look and do my own research. That's all I'm asking. I didn't ask him about Compton, California. I didn't ask him where he's from. But that's not my space. That's not my environment. Maybe you're in the wrong environment, sir. So for the last time, can you tell me where do you get this absolute truth of which you speak from? That's the last time I'm gonna ask you that.
okay, that's good, Professor. Guess what? Do you have eyes to see, ears to hear? Do you understand the five senses? That's where
I'm not talking in riddles, sir. Can you tell me where to look to find this truth of what you know? How do you know that you know where the truth is?
from your five senses by looking, listening, observing, and respecting. Okay, that's your answer, nigga.
Hey, nigga, I'm in Watts if you want to come find me, bitch ass.
Yeah, I will.
Hey,
I
homie,
will.
You and
Hey,
Kami
hey,
know
Tell
hey,
that.
him,
hey,
Watch,
hey,
tell
watch.
him,
homie.
bust.
Hey, check this out. I just lost respect for you. I'm blocking your ass. Find another space to sit up in prison, Babylon. Have a good night. He's in the wrong environment.
Oh my! What
This
what
is starting
happened,
on.
y'all? Is
This is why we
everybody
don't.
okay?
No, that dude in
No,
the wrong environment. He up here prison battling. I'm trying to ask
man,
him some scholarly
Mm-mm.
questions, and he talking about threatening people and shit.
man, who that clown was? I couldn't even see his name, bro. Cause I got some questions. He said he from Compton. Shit, I'm from Compton, cuz
Captain
I'm
is
right
ready
across
to
the
Yeah,
way
kick
from
some
the police
I'm right
people's
station.
here and watch.
asses.
So we can knuckle up. We can squabble up.
Yeah.
Can I watch?
Shit.
Yeah, man. You know
I
what I'm
mean,
saying?
I,
They
I
gon'
guess
they
he
gonna
thought. I
respect my
guess he thought
boy. You know what I'm saying?
the college education made me soft or something. He heard Buddha. He thought pacifist. It's like nigga, you weren't paying attention. I didn't say pacifist. I said nonviolent. But that can be switched off at the drop of a hat. Just give me like Khabib Nurmagomedov said. Send me location. Send me location, bitch, nigga.
Yeah, he
Shit.
came. He came up here preaching. One, he told him we're not here to talk about religion. I don't really know what he was talking about. I was trying to entertain what he was saying. I was like, okay, well, he might know something I don't know. Tell me where to find it. He couldn't tell me because he don't know where it is. He's just making shit up.
He was babbling on like anybody else that smokes too much weed.
Hey.
Next.
I want to step off and give the space up to let some more people talk. But I just had a one little special request, and I'm trying not to go on a rant. And this is to Nikki, and maybe I apologize if I'm giving you too much credit, but if it's possible, if you can maybe plant a seed and reach out to Professor Black Truth or Jason Black to talk about this the pop culture comic book scene. I don't want to go on a big nerd rant, but we had this Captain America movie with Anthony Mackie that has absolutely outsold the original Captain America movie with Chris Evans. And the white supremacists have just been, we're white and we say this movie is a failure. They've been losing their minds. As Professor Black Truth has said, these people don't have real heroes. So they're losing their minds when they see their fake heroes being quote unquote taken away from them. But one thing in particular that I think, and this is my personal theory that
What
really
are we
that
talking
it
about,
drives them
y'all?
crazy.
No
Captain
disrespect, but
America.
like, you know what I'm
Just hear me out. Hear
saying?
me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear
Hey,
me out. Hear me
Doctor
out.
Omega,
One
this
big thing
You know what I'm
in
Captain,
saying?
this
particular.
Time
Captain
is
speaking to
money,
you.
bro.
It's
Like,
This
the
Captain America speaking to you,
yeah,
bro.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know what you
yeah, yeah.
mean.
Hold on.
The real Captain
The
America.
fact that
Hey,
this movie has done so well outside of the United States theaters, it shatters this myth that black people don't sell outside of the United States. This lie, it's actually made more money outside of the United States. And the fact that if it there are several other comic book movies coming out with all white cast. If these movies fail, the white supremacists have already come up with excuses. They're already blaming the women that are going to be in these movies. But the point is, if these movies fail, they won't be able to point and say, "Oh, look, it's the black actors that
hey,
make these
Doctor
movies
Omega,
about to fail
I
and shit."
appreciate you, but it's a little late. We're gonna move around the space.
Go,
on
yeah, go, yeah,
secular,
yeah,
bro.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
1:30,
Yeah,
bro.
that Joker that came up here kind of took up a lot of time. I was just trying to figure out if he knew something I didn't know. So that's my bad. I shouldn't have let that imbecile.
He knows how to yell real loud at people for no reason.
I'm really like I'm excited.
I feel bad. I feel like I was in church and got cussed out.
Man,
Hey, Professor, the
I
next
got
person
fucking
gonna come
excited.
at you
I
sideways,
got excited. I
fuck you
thought
gonna
he was
handle?
gonna tell me of some book that I was getting excited. And his ass said 5 senses. I was like, nigga, get off my stage. I don't ever want to see you again. Dummy.
And Professor
Go ahead,
Lonnie,
Cash. Cash then
it's
Captain.
cat. Yeah, my bad. And I'm starting to fall asleep a little bit, but I just wanted to say that I got notes anyway, so I can't get too far off. But first, I want to say there's more than five senses, y'all. As a dancer, I want to shout out proprioception as a sense, which is kind of like a sense of balance. It's kind of like a subset of touch,
And hearing.
really about understanding where your body is in three dimensions, even with your eyes closed. They test it when you're supposedly drunk by asking you to touch your fingertip to your nose. So that's a sense. I just want to mention there's more than five. As well, I want to say that I
Yeah.
understand there's superstition. I understand that there's pattern recognition and that there's false pattern recognition. I wanted to start by saying that. Apostasy, if y'all look up that word, there are some countries where their government is tied to religion. It's not a separation of church and state, and you're essentially born into a religion. You don't get to choose to be in that religion. And because of this, there's a crime which is called apostasy, which is punishable by death in certain countries. So people don't get to be atheist in some countries, is the first thing I wanted to say. I wanted to mention Wabi Sabi. I wanted to mention the Tao Te Ching, but I don't know. We're taking long walks around Eastern philosophy and trying to compare it to religion, and I don't think that that's a fair comparison anyway. I did want to mention because Professor Alam was asking the previous speaker, like, what text do we go to find the truth of the black man being God? And he had already mentioned, the message to the black man and the Nation of Islam and all that. But I really like thinking about it like this. Uh, Um, First of all, I don't think we should just be looking at one text for the truth, obviously. Instead, we should be comparing them, and some people don't even allow comparison in their faith systems. They don't even allow us to look at other religions or other books because that's considered, you know what I'm saying, heresy. It's considered blasphemy. So beware of any religion that tells you that you can't ask questions. The ethic of reciprocity, which is do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, is ubiquitous throughout almost every belief system. So I think it's something that every human being understands. Wani mentioned the planets. I just wanted to shout out that they are named after gods. And then Professor Alon, you mentioned, uh, um, us being an intelligent creation, and even Wani's mentioning, the planets being in an intelligent formation. I think even the previous speaker spoke to the moon cycle for women and stuff. Like all these things, I do think are kind of tied together. But I often ask the question. This is where I'll pass Mike because this is kind of an argument that I've had with a lot of people who are religious, and I consider myself to be an atheist, or I mean, yeah, but so this is the question that they
Are
ask me
you
is
sure?
I'm not sure, no, but
No,
I know
I
I
know.
actively live my life not believing in a higher power that's governing my individual thoughts
Hmm.
and actions, or watching everything I do, or has an interest in what happens after I die. But
But
just to
remember
the
how I
watchmaker,
phrased it, right? I wasn't, we weren't talking about a God, we were talking about, do you feel that this is an intelligent design? Do you feel these things are random? Not, it's not about religion at all.
yeah, and that's my final point is the intelligent watchmaker. They say if you find a watch out in the middle of nowhere, you can still tell that there's an intelligence, that there's a reason for it, a purpose for it. And even if you don't see the watchmaker, you can still tell that there was an intelligence that created this device. And so in that same argument, human beings are the watch. And so there's proof that there's intelligence in us. So that must mean that there's an intelligent creator. I think Professor was mentioning this. But I just asked the question, if so, what created God? Because God would be considered way more intelligent. And ultimately, when I ask that question, people tell me, God doesn't preclude a creator; they're uncreatable. So I don't know. It's a spiral into conversations that make less sense to me, and ultimately go back to faith and hoping that you see your ancestors in the next life. And I appreciate anyone who supports their ancestors. So that's normally where I stop the convo. Thank y'all for letting me speak, though.
Oh
Thank
yeah,
you,
yeah,
Cash.
yeah, Cash. I appreciate you, brother. And yeah, I was hoping that the gentleman that was on yelling was making some interesting points, and I was hoping that he was gonna say the original text that he received this information from was the Shabaka stone in ancient Kemet, where the original story of Genesis was allegedly plagiarized from. So, you asked where was God created? The Kemetic people said in the beginning there was dark. It's a beautiful story. So let there be light. There's a story before that. It says in the beginning there was darkness, and then the darkness began to breathe, and then the darkness began to dream, and then the darkness realized it could do what it dreamed about. Let there be light. So
It
just
all starts with
starts
darkness.
with darkness, but apparently Darth Vader didn't know about that.
And before I'm sorry, before you went on that rant, my point
Stop
was that
calling names.
Hey,
the
Omega, we're gonna get back to you, but it's getting late. We got a couple more speakers, and then we're gonna close before my lady get mad at me.
And last thing, Professor Alan, from
um,
the Tao Te Ching, I just want to shout out one sentence from it.
Go ahead.
In the Tao Te Ching, he says, nature doesn't hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Shout out to the Tao Te Ching.
Right, right, right. We're gonna go to Captain. Go ahead, Captain.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, dude got some nerve coming here with all that bullshit, man. I was starting to call him a tether for a second. I'm just like, man, this nigga on some tetherism type of shit, man. I don't know. I don't know about him, man.
I
He
was
like a
here.
vet.
Here go the sad part, brother. I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was like, man, I want to learn something today. I wasn't trying to be pejorative. He just kept ranting and yelling. I was like, hold on, tell me where you getting this from. But guess what? He was getting it from prison. That's where the fuck he got it from.
Right, man. I don't know. These bitch ass motherfuckers, man. Look, all I know is, man, when you come in this motherfucking space, for all those that's listening, honkies, tethers, I'm talking to you. You know what I'm saying? Non FBAs, I'm talking to you. And if you are FBA and you come in here with that tetherism energy, revoke your own title. Don't come in here with that bullshit for the last time. So keep that shit that way. As far as Doctor, yeah, you Doctor Omega. Goddamn me, I like how you got my picture up there, my boy. Thank you. I look nice up there. But as far
Wait,
as
what just happened? Did he save your picture to his computer, to his phone?
no, I'm talking about Captain America, man. I look good up there, huh? Yeah. No, I'm just bullshitting. But all jokes aside, my boy. As far as this is off topic, but I'm gonna get back to the main topic in a few seconds. But as far as when you say they think that we ain't had no superheroes, Stan Lee originally created the first Captain America, which is Isaiah Bradley. And back in the comics, yes, that was the original, you know, Captain America. The first one was a black one. So yeah. And should FBAs invite outsiders into our events? Hell no. Stay over there. No, you can't come on this side of the fence. Hell no. We don't like you. We don't want you. We you know what I'm saying? Tethers and hunkies, we don't want you. You're not coming to the cookout. Mm-mm. It's only for FBAs, BAs, and freedmans only. Stay your ass over there. Mean it. We don't like you. Well, I know I don't like you, motherfuckers. I don't. And I'm me personally openly being racist. I don't like white folks or saying niggas or goddamn me tethers or with all that tetherism shit. I don't like y'all. I don't like y'all. And this just me being straight up real. I don't like you. I can't stand y'all existence. Real shit. I hate the fact that you're breathing. I know they sound bad, but I had to get that up off my chest. And now that the beef is out there, goddamn, y'all hate us, but y'all wives sure do love us. Y'all wives want to put a big, y'all like, bro, y'all wives really want us to put a big black baby in them. That's why y'all don't like us. That's why you mad. That's why you don't like black men. You know what I'm saying? Because we can reach in our pants and pull out something bigger, if you know what I mean. But your wives love us, though. Take heed. You ain't big in the pockets, you better be big somewhere else. I'm big in both. No homo. No diddy.
Oh God, that is the saying of the week.
And
No
goddamn,
month. Big
as
black.
far as you
Shouldn't
for
the
you
baby
Wani,
be big after
Wani,
you have it?
baby, you can hit me up anytime, baby.
But I can't get any big black babies in me.
Ah, shit, baby, we can try, baby. We can try, baby.
Oh no.
No.
Arrgh.
Look, big black babies are supposed to be outside of the woman, not in. Nobody wants a 12 or 13-pound baby coming out. That's not cool.
That's painful.
It's not recoverable. I saw one happen and it wasn't fun.
It's not normal either. It means somebody had diabetes carrying that child.
Really?
Most of the time, it's the
Wow.
mother. Yeah, most of the time the mom has some type of blood sugar issue when that baby comes out that big. That ain't. It's not good to have a baby too big, born way too big, like 12 pounds. That's
That
not good.
woman had a,
Wow.
it's think she was in Turkey and she had that baby was 12 pounds. And they were like, oh, look how big it is. No, it needs to get big after it comes out. No, you don't put big black babies in people.
You know what?
So
When
goofy.
when I don't know if it was Nikki or Wani, but whoever said that shit earlier, man, when they said want a big black baby, man, I'm sitting up here at work. I literally dropped the whole fucking stack of fucking coal and shit, cause I'm working and shit. I dropped the whole fucking stack and bust out laughing. That shit took me out, man. That shit had me fucking rolling.
I wanted to say something. We're gonna get a couple more speakers and we're gonna call it a night. But I want to say something. Let's be wary. Nobody in this space is a arbiter of truth. I've studied all my life, both in schools and outside. I've had some experiences in situations, in classified situations, where I've was almost lost my life, and I've had out of body experiences and seen things and had celestial experiences I really don't understand. I know a little bit about things, but I'm not the arbiter of truth. You know, the truth is discovered by all of us putting our little bitty pieces together to discover the truth collectively. I think Cash Gaines was talking about not just relying on one book. Bobby Hemmett said, "He who knows one book knows none." So this is a big picture we're trying to put together. Why am I saying that? We got to be careful about letting people come in our spaces or in our circles and just pretending like they know. I know the absolute truth. Because what I found out in my life, let me tell you what I found out. The smartest fucking people, and I've been around some brilliant people, the smartest ones have one, they say one thing in common. You know what that thing is? I don't know. So, anyway, we're going to go to,
So basically, you got what they call some smart dummies.
oh yeah, just I know the absolute truth. Well, where'd you get it from? My five senses. Dumbass.
You know something? Saints ain't coming no more, man.
That's the Dunning Kruger effect right there.
We're going to get a couple more people. Let's see. Cleves, what's on your mind?
What's going on, room? What's up, everybody? So I feel like whenever it is that a community of people is building, it's probably best to have everything you can get done stay inner community until you max that out. For FBA in my circle to be so new, of course they shouldn't invite outsiders. I don't even know who's completely inclusive to FBAs, like our the indigenous Americans that was here that was also enslaved, a part of FBAs. Um, you know what I'm saying? So, and then what comes with acknowledging, that particular group or the group I'm a part of, um, as far as the benefit that we're moving towards. Are we going to integrate into the American government and go to carve out space for ourselves the way the government is kind of dictating in life? Or are we going to want to be third world placements in America, trying to, in a radical approach, have some space in America, right? So it's interesting that it shouldn't even be a question in people's mind. It should be inside circle until they max out all value. Because I don't even think it's understood how it is that FBAs that go after real value in America. And then atheism, just to briefly speak on that. Who that I feel like it's loaded. Just to try and answer it, I'll say it's real. It's for real. It's really for real. When you lack certain experiences, you can only tie your understanding back to as far as it can go, or forward as far as it can go. So if the thing isn't to where the divine is stepped in, something beyond the five senses, to go to explain an experience, then yeah, atheism is for real. I'll land there, and if anybody have any questions, I'll be willing to, uh,
I did have a quick
tongue box.
question.
What's up?
You said that carve a place out for ourselves in the government. I I didn't know what you meant.
Well, in America, and I said how the government does it, right? How they dictate things. Um, if we're gonna be a community that we're gonna have our own governance, we do need to be acknowledged by the government as a group of people, um, under one understanding or one ideology, um, and then kind of given permission to have our own space, or are we gonna just, in a sense of being radicals, go to have a place in America? Is kind of the point.
So when we built this political arm that is like the NAACP and Congressional Black Caucus, that was kind of carving a place out for ourselves that seems to have been massively hijacked. Do you agree with that, or you see a different way of interacting with the government?
Yeah, I see. The civil rights movement and NAACP. I would think that's diaspora. American, melanated Americans from other places, right? FBAs, I don't think were really a part of that. Who might have been the ones that were included in the count to, be loud and march and hold up signs. But when it came to actually building towards the value that those organizations represent, I don't believe FBAs were really a part of that, and probably wasn't really in the space of benefiting. What was the other part of what you said?
No, that was basically it.
Okay.
Appreciate you, bro. We're going to go to B1 agenda. B1 agenda. Can you hear me? Going once, going twice. All right, moving on. Ken Pointer, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Professor? Peace to everybody in the room, Nikki. Peace to Wani and everybody at FBA family. I just had a quick question. Did we practice hoodoo before Christianity was introduced to us?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question.
Let me look it up.
Before Christianity was introduced to us. Damn, that's a good question.
I feel like the internet is gonna have mixed results on that one. I'm gonna go to listening.
I got a book on hoodoo. I just didn't bring it. I don't. It's somewhere else right now. So, hmm. If I had to guess, I would say, damn, Christianity was introduced in the 1700s as a tool of control. I don't know. I would, if I had to guess, brother, I would say yes, because we were over here before Christianity. What people don't understand, and I'm not dissing Christianity. I was brought up in the Baptist church, so no
It
disrespect.
came after.
After, okay, okay. Well, my guess was wrong. So
Uh,
Thank you.
man, did you say you had a book about voodoo, cuz?
about hoodoo,
Hoodoo.
yeah,
Oh no.
yeah.
Oh no 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 no.
That's not the zombie one, right?
No, I think that's voodoo. We're gonna go to, let's see.
It
Uh,
was key point. It was key Ken or Ken point. Ken point.
Ken Poner, go ahead, bro.
No, that was my question. Thank
Oh,
you.
that was it. Okay, good deal. Now we're moving on to David.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Peace to everybody in the room. Yeah, I was I love this space. So I was listening to the brother that was ranting earlier, and I think what he probably meant to say was the message to the black man. A lot of that stuff that he was talking about, as far as where white people came from, it comes from the story of Yaqub that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught, and the message to the black man, particularly in the chapter called "The Making of Devil." And then as far as the books as being absolute truth or not, so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he never really like referred to just the Quran. He kind of collaborated both books, the Quran and the Bible, as far as to make solid what he was saying. And then I was listening earlier when y'all were talking about the twirling dancers. I think Sister Warren was talking about that. They're called dervishes,
Mm-hmm.
and it comes out of Sufism, which is another branch of Islam. And then also, just one last thing I wanted to touch upon. So y'all know I'm down here in Mississippi, and when I pulled my grandfather's, he was born like 1913, and his father was born, which was my great grandfather, was born in 1871, just 6 years after we were set free. Um, so if you look at the DSS card, I think that's what it's called, that registration card that they had to fill out for a draft. I think that what it was for. If you look on the back of it, it has Orientals, and then it has Filipino, and it has Indian, white, and then Negro. Those were the categories that were on it. And I remember growing up, I'm 51 years old, and I do remember seeing, Asian people that were like old. I don't know whether they came over here after a war, but they seem to be like pretty mounted here in Mississippi, and they were like old. I don't know whether they were Chinese. I did recognize the Vietnamese people that came over here. I know that they definitely came over here after a war. But I haven't seen that movie. I'm gonna go watch it because people were saying that they were China. There were no Chinese people here in Mississippi or Asians. But I know that for a fact. They had to have been here. How many? I don't know. But up in the country area like Mississippi, central Mississippi, like Monticello, where my father and my grandfather and my people are from, um, there were some Asians up there, and even down here, of course, on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, you have a lot of Vietnamese as a result of the war, and possibly there were some that were here prior to maybe the Filipino people. I'm not sure, but yeah, I just wanted to land my plane on that, and I appreciate y'all spaces, man. I'm always in my studio editing photos, man. Y'all bring so much good information. It helps me to pass my night by. So I just land my plane and thank y'all once again.
Oh,
Thank
no
you.
doubt. Go ahead, one.
I just want to say real quick, yeah, Chinese people were here in the country, usually not in the South, though. So, yeah, they have pockets of them. But if you get, if you have some here in the 1800s, that amount can balloon and they can, somebody might tell them, hey, you could open up a business over here. They might be too saturated where they are with the businesses. But we do have a group of people called the Manila Men who were here in Louisiana. They were here and they married a lot of Louisianan women, black and white. And those women, they were Roman Catholic men. And so they got married, had children, but those women didn't really want to live near fishermen boats. These guys lived on the boat basically. And a lot of them just took their children and left. So those men must have gone somewhere too. They must have just incorporated themselves into the country.
Interesting. Very interesting. So we're going to close the space and we're going to get one more. Make a quick comment, Sam, on take six.
Oh man. All right, well, why not? This is one of my favorite topics. I will say, I guess this will be my quick comment. I think it's important to discern that the difference between me saying something and something and being a saying is important because the sayings that we constantly repeat have very powerful value underlying them, like the devil's in the details. Practice makes perfect in these things. And I think all of those things that are sayings allude to this absolute truth that we defy as God. And I think the only way to find that absolute truth is within yourself, reflecting with everything that's available to yourself, meaning any and every book of religious teaching or wisdom you consume and then compare and contrast, and the truth within you will guide you or tell you what the absolute parts of it is or is not. Sorry.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So I saved the best for last. We said, should FBAs invite outsiders into our events? I said no. And I think I brought up a couple of cultures. I brought up the Tibetan culture with their hidden secrets. Well, the culture most known for hiding secrets is China. Well, the Kemetic Egyptians, but that's another story. But the Chinese held gate kept secrets for thousands of years and had people killed for even telling little secret spiritual secrets of what they know. Well, I want to tell y'all a little known fact. In the 1960s, two Chinese archaeologists, Chi Pute and hold on one second. Chi Pute and Sum Neo discovered, listen to this, 716 stone disc in a cave in the Bayankara Ula Mountains. Uh-huh. Hello. These discs were found in association, Wani, check this out, with dwarf, large-headed skeletal material unclassified with known hominids. All of the skeletal material unclassifiable with known hominids. Oh, I just read that. I don't have my glasses on. All of the disc had double spiral grooves inscribed outwards from the center with accompanying symbols. The disc are these discs are stone, but of a material with high metallic content, allegedly cobalt, but we know it wasn't cobalt.
They're like albums that need to be played, and we don't have the player.
Right. Dr. Bradley says, but of the according to the exceedingly scanty reports, some of these discs have been taken to Moscow for analysis, where they've been dated to approximately 12,000 BP. Allegedly, some of the discs have been translated and tell of a spaceship crash. Accurately trustworthy information concerning this is very hard to find. So the China I'm reading that to tell you that that's not common known information. The Chinese gatekeep some of their secret information. The Chinese know of certain techniques and certain systems that they ain't telling nobody. Last but not least, the Dogon people of West Africa, um, a Frenchman, two French anthropologists, Marcel Griel and Germain Detterling, discovered that the most closely held secret of the Dogon people was a tradition of the nature, and some of y'all heard about this, about the Sirius star system. The Dogon believed that the bright star was a smaller, dim companion composed of extremely dense material. Um, this, in fact, is true. The star we know as Sirius, accompanied by a white dwarf designated as Sirius B, and is star composed of material so condensed that a thimbleful would weigh 10,000 tons on Earth. So how did they know that? What am I getting to, people? I'm getting to, if you know something or you have some type of sacred knowledge, you need to gatekeep it. I'm in it on this. Foundational Black Americans, we have an outrageous wellspring of knowledge and talent. Um, and we need to gatekeep it. We need to keep it within our own circles and stop giving it to people, because what they do, like the Europeans and the Chinese, the Europeans, the first chance they got, they used gunpowder against the Chinese. We need to learn that lesson from history. The Dogon, who allegedly were members of Egyptians, the Egyptian high-ranking priests who left Kemet, the Dogon, after being secluded for thousands of years, decided to talk to a couple of French people because they seemed harmless. And the French stole the information and published it as if the French discovered the shit. So let's keep our shit to ourselves. Should FBAs invite outsiders into our events? Hell no.
Nah. Before we go, before you close out, your book, can you send me the information?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. In the jumbotron, you'll see uh Wani Spots and Nikki the Gods Cash App. Show them love for their dedication. With regard to your question, if you look, I just put Our Story Publications in the jumbotron. What you do is go on Cash App, put $25 on it, and put your full address and a zip code, and I'll mail you a book out next week. And if anybody else wants a copy, I have 8 more copies remaining that I can send out. If you want a copy, it's $25. I have more information about our origins and the truth about how the Europeans colonized
Will
us and
do.
stuff.
Will do. And one more thing before you close out. They actually did us a favor. When Trump signed that, when he undid the segregation.
Hmm.
So let's gatekeep and make Black Wall Street one more time. Just for the hell of it. Let's just gatekeep the hell of out of our shit, man. Keep everybody else out of it.
Yeah,
You ain't BA or
I
FBA.
like I
Can't do
like the
nothing.
captain said that if Black Wall Street pops up again, which I think it is, maybe in Atlanta, maybe in Memphis, who knows? But if it pops up again, we need to protect it, and we need to keep outsiders from opening shops in our shit.
Yeah, and Morris Chestnut actually, he talked about that at one point, and I'm just like, yo, they gonna try to take this motherfucker out, man. But we got to be the, you know fill in the gaps and shit. So
Right. Well, I'm about to hit the bed and get cussed out by my lady.
Man, we don't play
Yeah, I'm like,
Nintendo,
hey
man.
man,
You better get
it's
Thanks for
2
the
o'clock in the
get on
conversation.
the
morning.
couch.
You still in this motherfucking talk? But I enjoyed y'all. It's worth it though. I
Yeah,
really
thanks,
enjoyed
y'all.
y'all.
Man, you finna find your place on the couch.
Be one.
I'm gonna jump up in the bed like I've been there the whole time. That's what's gonna happen. What you talking about? I've been here the whole time. You had a nightmare. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all later. See you tomorrow, same time, same place.
Peace.
Peace out, y'all. Oh, Wanda, you had it
Good night.
last.
Good night.
Nikki.
Good night.
All right, see y'all later.